Hello and welcome to the final day of Belém against Elite Stara Zagora. We go in today with 4 teams and we'll finish with just 1. Our semifinals today will comprise of the juggernauts from Ukraine, of course, Team Majesty, as they look to dethrone what can be one of the best mixes Bulgaria has ever seen, MBAPEEK. Our second semifinal match will see rank 50 in the world and contestants for rank 1 in Bulgaria, Skate, as they take on rank 51 and another contender for rank 1 in Bulgaria, the powerhouse of Fate. We'll have some phenomenal CS ahead. Let's hear it from our casting desk, Prema and Ted.
Thank you very much, Niku, for that lovely little intro there. And we've got some insane games ahead, haven't we? I cannot wait to see them. I'm your caster, Crema3, and joining me is a man whose voice is so smooth it's used to file down German piano wire. It's Ted.
They're getting better and better.
I'm proud of them. I'm saving the best till last.
I had one as well, but I'll save it for later.
Save it for later.
Yeah. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the final day. We've seen so much CS. We've watched so many insane games through these 4 days of competition between all teams. And now we are going to take the first step to the final. We are going to see who will be the first finalist, MBAPEEK or Majesty. There were so much storylines through this entire tournament. We had Fate and Majesty going to the lower brackets. Of course, Majesty losing to Fate, Skate losing to MBAPEEK, going to the lowers. They had to win 2 best of 3s to get to here, to get to play today, and they prove that they deserve it.
Yeah, without a doubt. And yeah, I can see every single one of these teams taking it. There isn't a single team here that, in my eyes, is weaker than any of the others. I think there are some on paper that are statistically favorites, but any team can take it, and I love how close this is.
Yeah, me too. I mean, we have so many good players here on stage. Yeah. I don't think we have a single player that hasn't proven himself. Yeah. We have young talents. We have, like, not old, but people with so much experience, like 30, 31-year-old players that have played on so many LAN events, that have won so many trophies, that is going to be really interesting. And we have players that are on fire. We have players that we're yet to see perform how they do online. So this is going to be really interesting because some people need to step up and some people need to try and just keep up the form that they have shown
Yep, without a doubt. And I'll tell you what, on the topic of form, on the topic of these two teams being very closely matched, let's delve into the veto. We've got the opening map of Inferno that'll follow up with Mirage, and if needs be, our final map will be that of Dust 2. That's Inferno pick being that of Majesty. So, how are you feeling about this?
I think that was expected. Like, Majesty wanted to play Vertigo, obviously, because it's one of their best maps, even though they're playing with a stand-in. But I think MBAPEEK knew that, so they removed it straight away. And I'm really curious. Majesty removed Overpass, actually, because I spoke to them. They said that they have no chance to play Overpass with a stand-in because it's a hard map for them, although they love it. So Inferno, I think I expected it, as we've seen them play it a couple of times already. They lost to Fate on it, but I think that lost match to Fate doesn't mean that they can't play the map. They showed really good ideas, really good gameplay. It was just Fate being all over the place. They were just popping off heads. We saw Patrick and Nikki having such strong performance. Nikki was so strong through this entire tournament. I'm really looking forward to seeing him perform today as well, because he's been phenomenal.
No, he absolutely has been. And looking at the second map of Mirage, all right, that was MBAPEEK's map, and I think that kind of goes without any form of introduction, because MBAPEEK, they've just decimated any team that's challenged them on Mirage so far.
And they're a mix. Like, Mirage is a map
playground.
Exactly. And they have so many good individuals. They have so many strong gamers. I don't think they have a single weak gamer in this team.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, that final map being of Dust 2, I think it might not even go to it. But
I think so as well.
Majesty is still pretty strong on Dust 2. I think they...
I think we saw them playing Dust 2 on their first game on the tournament. They won it 16-2 to TTFU, but they're unfortunately not here already. But I don't think we can compare MBAPEEK to TTFU.
Yeah, it's going to be a very tough match for Majesty. I think
it is. And they know it. They're motivated. They want to show what they're capable of. And I spoke to them. They're like, we're not going to just go out and say we're going to win it, we're going to crush them, because we know that's not true. We know they're going to give us a hard time. We know they're a decent team. We know they're good players. But we want to take the maximum of this experience and maybe try to put up a fight.
Without a doubt. But without further ado, we're going to throw it back to our lovely stage host of... Never mind, we're not. We just had one from production to wait. For a moment we were. Without further ado...
You know, we're doing this thing... at least 2-3 times a day.
Well, you try to do something, production says, no, don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They're not good to us. They're just not good to us. But what can we say about Inferno? We saw Majesty versus Fate. They were going for these. Wonderful, actually, did pretty decent job with Diop. He was aggressive all the time. He was proactive, going for peaks. He wanted to just help his team be impactful. He was peeking banana. He was peeking middle, second middle. They even had run boosts going on. But at the end, Fate were more prepared, but I think Majesty have the basics on the map, and they have pretty decent setups, set pieces that we want to see versus MBAPEEK. And MBAPEEK, I don't think we have seen them play Inferno yet.
That kind of worries me, because Inferno is a fairly common map. It's safe to assume that, as a default, people know how to play Inferno.
Yeah, and they're really good players.
Especially when they're this experienced. Like, they're going to know Inferno, and we don't know the extent of that knowledge. We don't know the extent of that prowess. So Majesty... it's a fairly ballsy pick, in my opinion. It
is, because on the other side, what do you have? You have a core of 3 men that played together for 2 years, won WESG, beat teams like Fnatic, like G2, if I'm not mistaken. And, of course, speaking about Victor, Ships, and Bubbo. And around them, you have maybe the 2 best puggers in Bulgaria. You have Sleepy, the only man that single-handedly, without an invite, qualified for Rank S from Bulgaria. And you have Red Star, who qualified 2 times for FPL.
It's an insane mix. Like, statistically, they are just stacked on this side, and they've proven it. I don't think we've seen them lose a single map this tournament. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, they haven't.
So they've got the whole tournament without dropping a map so far.
But you know, you can't lose a map when all 5 of your players are performing like that. Because we expected strong game by Red Star and Ships particularly. Because they're like maybe the 2 most talented players.
Victor showed up as well, and it was just a landslide.
Victor showed up as well after not playing for such a long time. He showed up. Bubble is fragging out of his mind as well when Sleepy. What can we say about him? I think that's the guy with the most clutches after Popov, of course, because
Popov was just incredible.
I miss him.
I want to talk about Sleepy a bit more, in the sense that he's taking the roles that are just hard. Like he's anchoring sites, he's playing late rotations, he's left in clutches.
That just shows his dedication for the team.
And it shows because the entire Majesty, or the entire MBAPEEK, sorry, my apologies, all of them can go around and just kill because they know they can rely on
Sleepy. He just trusts him.
Yeah.
And plays whatever. But ladies and gentlemen, we will continue our analysis after we introduce the teams back to the main stage and our host Niku.
Welcome back to the main stage, and now it's time for me to introduce you. Waiting just around the corner, the Ukrainian powerhouse, Team Majesty! Hello guys, hello Darkside. How do you feel today?
We feel good. Thank
Alright,
you.
that's nice. Did you eat pizza last night?
No, actually we ate some chicken.
Oh, that's nice. Well, I have only one question for you. If you win the tournament, what does this mean for the team?
I think we will be hella motivated, like to play. But still, like when we go back to Kiev, we still go play with our main roster. But nevertheless, we'll still get so motivated after this.
All right. Well,
like, it's an honor for us to be like in here to play, to present Ukraine, and to at least like have prize place in this tournament.
all right. Round of applause for Team Majesty. You can take your places. And of course, one of the best mixes Bulgaria has ever seen, Team MBAPEEK. Hi, Bobo. How are you?
I'm good, feeling great.
You're feeling great. Okay, well, you know, I've asked you yesterday, but I want to ask you today once again. You're at the semifinals already with a mixed team. So if you win this, like the whole tournament, will you make this team official? All right. Take your places. Thank you. Round of applause for MBAPEEK. Well, what can we say? Cremantet, take it away.
Well, that was quite the entry. I really liked that one from Bobo.
Yep. I'm surprised with how good Darkside is in interviews as well. Like,
yeah, he's really composed. He's really calm.
Yeah, I like that. And maybe that'll translate in game as well.
And you know, the quiet waters are the deepest, so
We'll see.
they might have something special prepared for MBAPEEK. Wow, I really can't wait for this game to start already.
Me
because, you know, when MBAPEEK come on the stage and they're so composed, you can see all of them just smiling. You know that they have confidence in themselves.
Yep. I suspect that once they saw Inferno get picked, they had a moment of kind of relief to go, okay, all right, we know how to play this. We can work as a team on this.
The thing is that I think MBAPEEK knew what maps they were gonna play from a long time ago versus Majesty, like even from yesterday, because they know what Majesty are playing. And for MBAPEEK, it's not so easy to predict what they will want to play. And I think their strong choice here to just peak Mirage will win them the game. Because, you know, I don't think anyone on this tournament has a chance versus MBAPEEK on Mirage.
Yeah.
Like, unless, of course, Fade and Skate go huge and someone goes 30, 40 bomb, like being crazy like Dennis Law or Nicky.
Yep, without a doubt. And it looks like everyone is in the server, so we're going to have just a little bit of time to talk about this before we get this game underway. And I'm going to throw it to you, Ted. Do you have a prediction for this?
Yeah, my prediction for this will be 2-0 MBAPEEK, and I think that on Mirage, it's going to be under 10 rounds for Majesty for sure. But on Inferno, I will say that Majesty will win at least 11.
I think Majesty can make Inferno really close. I think MBAPEEK are going to take it regardless, simply because of that Mirage Dust 2 kind of last two maps. That being said, I think Majesty, they're in for a chance to potentially take Inferno. I suspect it will be 2-1 MBAPEEK.
2-1?
2-1, yeah. I'm not ruling Majesty out of this. Yeah, I reckon that my Dark Side can come
this
huge.
2 is a strong map for them. We've seen them play it. I think they're pretty good on this. So if they win, I'll back it up. If Majesty win Inferno, I think the third map will be really close.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we see overtime.
Because, you know, Dust 2 is a really AWP-orientated map, and you have Wonderful, who's just hitting wonderful shots, to be honest. This guy's being insane. Of course, yesterday we saw what Native did to Blue Jays. He was out of his mind as well. I'm really looking forward to that, because we can't say that Majesty are like on the same level as MBAPEEK, but yesterday versus Blue Jays, we saw that, for example, Ziggs performed out of his mind yesterday, and Majesty found a way to win a map where one player of the enemies was just outperforming every single one of them. So I think if they manage to transfer that to Dust 2 and MBAPEEK don't step up big time, they're going to have a really hard time. But first they need to get Inferno. And for me, Inferno is harder for them to get than Dust 2.
My worry for Majesty is that they were great at mitigating Ziggs' damage when he was popping off. But MBAPEEK, their skill is in one player. We see them go insane with every single man.
Exactly.
All of them can pop off. Like Sleepy, Ships, Victor Bubble. We've seen all of them go huge. Red Star, I think we just assume he goes huge as a default. But the others, they've been popping off as well.
Exactly. Like, arguably, Ships and Red Star are maybe the two most talented individuals on the scene.
Yeah.
In Bulgaria, of course. Yeah. But... of course, they need to prove it yet again, because this is only the semifinal. They will have their shot to play in the final versus one of the two teams who have the best players in Bulgaria. Of course, both Fate and Skate having people that are reckoned to be one of the best. Like you have from, what do you have? From Fate, Nicky is performing out of his mind. Like you have Harn.
Harn's had a quiet tournament.
Yeah, but we need to have high expectations of him.
Yeah.
Because online, he's doing decent. He's doing nuts online.
He does bits,
So far, he hasn't showed up online, and I think his team needs him. But you have Patrick, you have Mart, who are doing such an incredible job.
Yeah.
Blocker, as well, for me, is having a bit of a hard time. But so far, Nicky is the player that steps up big time for his team. He needs his teammates, though. And on the other side, we have a revived Skate that won 2 best of 3s, 2-0. Skate that yesterday was clinical versus Tenerife. Skate that has Dennis Law, who is just, he's a monster right now.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I am really interested to see if Han can pop off. Because if Han can show up, then Fate are going to have this kind of second win, this new revival of skill, which is going to be really hard to match.
If he doesn't, it's going to be really hard.
If he doesn't, they're going to be hard pressed.
But the thing is, there's so much pressure on him right now, because he knows that they won the best of ones. Okay, but they played. I don't want to underestimate the teams that they played on best of one, but Skate are surely better than the teams that they played on best of one. And this is a best of 3. It's really different. He needs to step up, because Skate, they're going to punish mistakes.
Yep. Tell you what's interesting, what's impressed me recently as well is Nicky. Like, even though Han hasn't risen to table, Nicky, the IGL of Fate, he has just gone huge. He has really shown a kind of level of commitment in terms of being able to rise to that mantle, being able to rise to the platter and just kill, which is something we don't really see from a lot of IGLs in the scene.
You know, that's the difference that LAN events make.
Exactly.
When you go on LAN, it really shows who has experience. Like, there are still people that perform, even if this is their first or second LAN. We had Milky and Shaik from Peak, who are doing nuts. We had Steffi, but it's not his first LAN, so that doesn't count so much. But Milky and Shaik, I'm pretty sure that was their first LAN. They were performing really well. We had...
Popov was just insane for that whole
he's played a couple of ones, but for example, from Depresso, you remember Scrimocho when they played versus MBAPEEK. He was doing nuts as well. We
Purple Rain as well. How can you forget Purple Rain?
That was the best level weight on Face It.
That is incredible how well he played.
Everybody can admit that he's the best level weight on Face It. We have LAN just makes a big difference. Like you had Ziggs, who recently wasn't doing so well online. Like he did well in the past like 5-10 maps. Before that, he wasn't doing his best. He came here. He was like around the 30 bump every game. You had even Chris from Blue Jays, whose first LAN just ended yesterday when they got disqualified from Majesty. But despite of the best of 3 series versus Majesty, where I think he just was too nervous to show up, before that versus Fate, he did pretty decent job. So this tournament is doing his job. It's giving young people the chance to prove themselves versus the strong teams on the scene.
And that really impresses me, because there's of course, at every event you're going to have a standout player, but here we've had, I think, one standout player on every single team.
Exactly.
We've had star performances pretty much from start to finish, and if, of course, semi-finals, finals always going to ramp up, going to be more competitive. If what we've seen leading up to this is anything to go by, we have got some insanely good games ahead.
Oh boy, I can't wait. It's always really, especially for I'm really intrigued to see how Majesty will deal with MBAPEEK, but especially for that Skate Fate game, because every time these two teams play, there's a lot of BM, there's a lot of pressure, everybody playing on 100%, and now they're playing on LAN. Now they're not playing online because the last 3 matches that they played, the first was the best of 5 on the A1 Gaming League finals, where Fate won 3-2. Afterwards, though, Skate won 2 best of 3s versus them. I think one was 2-1, one 2-0, something like that. So online, they're kind of 50-50, but on LAN, I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we are just waiting on one more player to join the server from MBAPEEK. Actually, I say that just as he joins, so we should be going live into this very, very shortly. There's only a couple players left to ready up. So, before we go into this, do you want to put a kind of round prediction on this game?
Round prediction. I will say it's going to be 16 to... I said 11 before, but I will say 16-8 in favor of MBAPEEK.
Okay, all right. Well, again, I've said that I can see Majesty taking this. I'm going to say 19-18 or 19-17, sorry. So Majesty, this goes to overtime. I suspect that in overtime, the pressure's really going to get to Majesty, but I think that kind of AWPing prowess that we've seen on Wonderful and the kind of just standard fracking we've seen from Darkside, I think that can start stacking up, and I think that can work in Majesty's favor.
It could be. You know, Majesty are a young team. They're kind of like... This reminds me of PEEK versus Skate, this game. Because PEEK, they were well prepared. They're a young team that's putting a lot of effort. And when they got things rolling, they just built up that momentum that helped them look pretty decent on Inferno. And I believe if Majesty managed to win a couple of like close clutches just to gain that extra confidence, that extra adrenaline boost, they can actually build up and maybe put it in overtime. Yeah, I agree with you. It's not impossible. It's not impossible.
No, it's definitely not out of the realms of
After all, it's CS, and we've seen everything. Like, I mean everything.
Yeah, without a doubt. And again, we should be going live into this very, very shortly. I cannot wait. Are there any players, again, you want to see just stand out? Like, we've seen from MBAPEEK, kind of as a standard, Red Star, Victor, and Bubble have all had great games, but is there any player you should watch out for?
I think the most dangerous man in MBAPEEK should be Ships. Like, when you look at it from like from another perspective, he's one of the guys that some people say that has more raw talent than even Sirkin Poison. I've heard that from professional Bulgarian players, saying that he's got more raw talent, more potential. So I believe he's really dangerous. But of course, again, there is not a single player on MBAPEEK who's not dangerous. Red Star, he's phenomenal. We saw he single-handedly won the game versus Depresso in the first match for them. We saw Bobo yesterday versus Tenerife. He was on fire, and he's one of the best players in Bulgaria currently because he's an IGL. He has so much game knowledge. He's done so much for the Bulgarian gaming, and on top of that, he's just changed to Shox's resolution and transformed into him.
Without further ado, it looks like the countdown has just come down, so we will be going live into this very, very shortly. We're going to have a little knife round, of course, in which we're going to see Majesty Suicide simply because they picked the map. MBAPEEK, they get to choose what side they start on. With that, I think it's safe to assume it will be that CT side. Are there any sort of pistol round strats you enjoy seeing on Inferno?
Oh, I actually really like the mid push from the CTs. I hope MBAPEEK go for the mid push. And for Majesty, I think the perfect counter of that is just slow down in the beginning, wait for MBAPEEK to take their first move, and then decide what to do. And ladies and gentlemen, we are here on Inferno for the first map of the first semi-final here at Bellum against Elite Stara Zagora. I am your caster Ted, and next to me is the twin brother of Kerrigan, Kramer 3.
Twin brother of Kerrigan.
You look like him a lot, by the way.
going into the pistol round. We're going to see a bit of utility on either side.
There's
Bubble,
the mid push.
Yeah, Bubble and Darkside both having it. It's an early kill from Victor, tearing the head off Darkside. That's the utility lost for Majesty. They are trapped in Banana. Wonderful doing a good job to try and clear it, though, as Victor able to get that bomb, and it's just going to roll into their view. It's going to be kills going either way, as Native and Wonderful continue to strike. Wonderful makes it a 3K for Majesty. They open Inferno with a first round.
That's the start that we wanted. Actually, really nice call for MBAPEEK, but I loved it how Majesty didn't commit to that bomb plant, even though they knew that MBAPEEK are pushing middle. They just all turned around and waited for MBAPEEK to go into their crosshairs. Of course, MBAPEEK will be really confident in taking those duels. They believe that they have what it takes to just out-aim their opponents, and now they're going for the force. 4 Desert Eagles, 1 UMP in the hands of Sleepy, who of course again takes the anchor position. He will be the guy that will play towards apartments. And on the other side, Majesty, they know it's a force. They're going for the 3 AKs and 2 Galils. They want all rifles that they can buy.
Looks like it's a fairly early setup towards top mid from Majesty. They chuck down their default smokes. They sell a fake to kind of presence as they'll make their way back down towards the bottom of Banana. I suspect on their priority list, Banana control is fairly high up there. Darkside will make his way down towards Apps just to maybe find an early pick, but if he runs into this stack, it's going to be an explosion towards Banana from Majesty. And for MBAPEEK, I'm actually fairly happy with their buy. You know, they've actually got a fair bit of utility to work with. They've got a Molly on Smoke on Victor to delay any push towards B. There is a flash on CP, so it's going to be very Angel heavy towards A, but to counteract that, they do have 3 members of fourth if Bubble chooses to rotate back around. 50 seconds on the clock. Red Star on long. Going to be that initial point of contact with that Deagle. Looking for Native. He'll spot him. A lovely kill from Red Star to kick things off. And MBAPEEK, with a 1-man advantage, find themselves able to progress a bit further.
Ships though falling to Darkside, and now Sleepy. He needs to go huge. At least 1 in this situation for him. At least 1 kill. He doesn't get it. Darkside with a second.
Ooh.
Oh, nice shots from Red Star though. We've seen him win rounds single-handedly with the Deagle before. And now a 3v3, but both Darkside and Throne, they need to play on headshot angles as they're 1 HP. And Wonderful, he needs to go huge for his team now.
Well-placed Molly from Victor could be what decides it right now. We've got Throne coming in from Absolute player. All of them swing wide from long. Early kill going through. Darkside finds 1 Throne to find a second, and these 2 players are agonizingly low on HP. Regardless, though, Bubble, he's just going to back away. He's going to look to save that Deagle and armor and potentially use it to snowball into a 3rd round if they can have some pistols kind of follow him. Regardless, though, Majesty, it was messy, and their players are very low on HP, but regardless, they make it a 2nd round, and they forced MBAPEEK down to an eco.
Actually, pretty decent round from Majesty, although it went really shaky with the kills from Red Star. I really believe that Majesty could build up some pace, but MBAPEEK, they look so dangerous, and I can't wait to see them with the ops, because I can assure you that they'll go for the double op on the city side.
Yeah, without a doubt, and they've got the players to do so. We saw yesterday on Train, they had like 3 or 4 players who were just swapping the op. It's early Banana control being established in Majesty. A few kind of a little bit of native sprinkling of damage done either way, but Bubble, he's taking a little bit more than the sprinkling. He's actually going to aggress towards that. Molly, it won't matter. Native's ready for him. Victor with his D, we're going to look to do a bit more damage. Swing comes wide. He's able to tag up some players, but honestly, when you're alone on this B site, you need more than just damage. You need to find some heads.
Oh,
a lovely nade does a bit of tickle damage. Pretty much everyone, but unfortunately, not a single player has fallen yet. Wonderful to find Victor. Red Star go through the smoke. Finding 1, looking for a second, but Throne is just so quick on that response. You can see ships go through the smoke with Sleepy, but to what avail? They've got no armor, no utility, just P250s, and very little chance, especially when it falls down to just Sleepy. Wonderful, a lovely little 2K is 3rd of the rounds, and for Majesty, it's a 3-0 lead.
That's the best start that they can ever wish for, and we saw they knew that MBAPEEK didn't have a lot of money, so they just went all in for that B execute on the refrags. They used all their utility, didn't want to leave any chances for the pistols to get dangerous there, and now there's the all buy from ships. Now the guns come out for MBAPEEK. He's going for the early banana aggression. Actually, he'll get the one-way smoke, he'll get the flash. Peeks misses the shot though. Majesty, they knew what's going. They threw a perfect counter smoke there to block ship's vision.
Oh, those nades as well. That's a perfect use of utility there from Majesty, just to swing it back against MBAPEEK. And Victor, though, he'll respond in kind. Throne goes to fall as he tries to aggress towards B. With 3 players committed to the B site, though, it's going to be an early push out from A. Sleepy able to find Darkside from B. He's got the assistance of Red Star, but Red Star, his sole purpose in life right now is to buy time. Wonderful with the Sorp trying to take him down. Red Star, he's just dancing around, making sure that he's got space. He'll swing wide from the molly, and he'll survive by some miracle. Wonderful now, the lone man. He'll find one. There's more to find. Ships to get the final say in the matter. And for MBAPEEK, it'll be their first. Unfortunately, they can't save that AWP, so it is still a 1 AWP setup from MBAPEEK, and, you know, they still don't have too much economy. Majesty going to go onto a full buy, and we'll see who's able to reset one another.
By the way, this pause from Majesty is the perfect thing that they could do. When you're on the T side, when you lose only 1 round, you need to, at the exact same moment, you need to vote a pause and try to discuss and find a way to reset the economy of the CTs. Because the most important thing when you're on the T side and you want to win the half is to just keep the CT's economy in control, in full, like, you need to have the power to reset them after every lost round.
Yep, without a doubt.
If MBAPEEK manage to build up some really stable bank here, they will go for the double up, they can rebuy, and it's gonna be hard for Majesty. Actually, MBAPEEK did the same versus Skate when they played them on Mirage. Skate, it was 3-0 MBAPEEK, Skate wins one, tactical timeout. Skate wins a second, tactical timeout. Every time Skate won a round for like the first 2 or 3 rounds, MBAPEEK were constantly voting a timeout so that they have the chance to think about a way to keep their economy low. Even if they don't win a round, they just want to take as many players as possible from the enemy squad down.
I couldn't have said it better myself. MBAPEEK, their strength comes in their double AWP setup. It comes in their aggression with these AWPs. And if they have a chance to get a foothold, at least economically, then they can really spiral out and they can really just let the game run away with themselves. But Majesty, though, it is their chance to just regress. It's a full buy, or at least as close to a full buy as they can justify. Throne going to kickstart things by finding Bubble, and he gives Wonderful a chance to upgrade his gun as well. That nade's going to hardly tickle Throne, actually, as he'll look to aggress him further. Ships a lovely shot on the dark side there, instantly flicking him up and taking him down. Majesty, though, their response is banana control. Victor, he's holding firm, he's wary of the players there. They've been more than happy to make some noise as the rotation comes back around. But for Majesty, invading this B site will be a 4 versus 2. There's an early CT smoke to go down. Set piece goes out, flashes to follow. Victor, full blind's going to fall. Red Star's able to respond, though, doing a bit of damage here and there. 3 versus 3, then A doing just that bit more. And for MBAPEEK, it looks like they're going to find themselves in a 3 versus 3 after plant scenario. Ships aggressing even further. Top to fall. Throne to fall as well. It's down to Wonderful. He'll find 1. He'll make it 2. Looking for the 3rd now. It's down to Sleepy. Only a UMP in his hand as he comes through from CT. Wonderful to spot him, but he'll fall. For a moment there, Majesty was going to, it looked like they were going to take that 1v3. Instead, CP, that anchor player, that rock for MBAPEEK, is going to come through as strong as ever, win the 1v1, get that defuse, save that AWP, and reset Majesty.
That was really good from Sleepy. We should really appreciate how ice cold he is in these clutches. Like, he's won so many clutches throughout the entire tournament, but Majesty in the meantime, they're doing still a pretty decent job at keeping the money low for MBAPEEK, because now both teams are playing for a reset. On the back of that bomb plant, Majesty decide to invest everything. They go for the 2 MAC-10s, 2 AKs, and 1 Galil, which of course tells us that they will probably go for a fast apps play or just jump out towards pit. They slow down a bit. Throne going for that banana aggression all alone, though. I don't know why he did that. With his teammates there on the other side of the map, ready to jump out apartments with the MAC-10s and the AKs, of course. First guy will jump and try to get the crosshairs towards him. Nice trades from Native and Wonderful. And now all alone is Red Star on the side. Finds the first, finds the second, and Bobo to help him out. 3rd round, MBAPEEK and Eco and reset for Majesty.
Yeah, and for MBAPEEK, that was a solid hold. That came down to Red Star entirely to find those first 2 players. Bubble catching the man out on the rotation didn't really matter because Red Star had already found 2 on site. It just meant that MBAPEEK, they get even more economy. We see them full, but literally fully equipped at this point. Head armor, only a kit on Victor actually, but enough to like anything they get now is bonus economy. And for Majesty, they are just down to Deagles. MBAPEEK, this is their chance to take the lead, and with chip-sitting shots like that, it's going to be fairly easy. He makes it 2. He's got enough experience to know he shouldn't make it 3. As Victor, he's able to find one more through the smoke, and Majesty, they've just been dismantled. But wonderful. He's able to strike on behalf of Majesty. A lovely little kill going in their favor. But it looks like a silver lining.
MBAPEEK shouldn't get too ahead of themselves because they still don't have so much money. I think if they manage to stay for alive in this round and win it, that's going to be perfect for them, as they will have one buy round in reserve if they lose one. And now Victor, he needs to kill one players here. He goes for the first, goes for the second, no problems for, as he calls himself, Victor Crazy, but in Bulgarian.
That is a lovely little...
You know, how do we call Victor in Bulgarian?
How do you call Victor in Bulgarian?
Victor Wood. It just says Victor Crazy.
Victor Crazy?
Yeah, that's how he named himself.
Ah, okay. Well, the more you know, the more you know.
Yeah.
For Majesty, it's going to be a match.
Inside info.
Yeah, and I'm loving this. For Majesty, it's going to be a full buy at a round advantage. There's banana regression coming through from MBAPEEK, but it won't quite work out. Toki's able to strike first. Double spam through that smoke, looking for more, but Throne, he's just going to swing wide. Throne, he's had enough. The IGL of Majesty is swinging wide, and that's a lovely shot by Tok there. And just like that, Majesty have swung this B site wide open like a revolving door. For MBAPEEK, they've got 2 players left, and the only real choice at this point is to save. And what concerns me is Majesty, they've got players out in a default. They are in a prime position to hunt down this AWP and AEG and make MBAPEEK reinvest fully.
This is really dangerous for MBAPEEK. Like, Majesty, in the beginning, when I see all the grenades that MBAPEEK throw towards Banana, I'm like, there's no way Majesty go through it. But they don't stop, they don't wait, they just run through all the grenades, they give some in return, and they just go on ham on site. MBAPEEK couldn't even kill a single guy, and they were 3 on B.
And that is concerning. That is concerning. I think the aggression just did not work out. Majesty, they were ready for it. CP in library is going to look to try and save this AUG. He'll take down a few members for his woes, as Native will fall. And it looks like for Majesty, they realize their economy is not in the best of shape. They won't expend too much hunting, as they'll back away. They'll tie things up 4-4. And for MBAPEEK, they can just about buy actually their economy. Considering they had one about 3 or 4 in a row, I'm concerned by the fact that they didn't really build any economy from it.
Yeah, actually, at this moment, Majesty losing so many players, even when they won rounds, just shows up. Like, they have, after they fully invest, they have around 2,000, 1,000 on each player. Yes, of course, even if they lose this round, they will still be able to buy next one. But that's not the economy that you want to see from a T-side team that has won 4 rounds, and in 2 of the rounds that he's lost, he's planted the bomb.
Yeah, without a doubt. And if they can win this round, they can reset MBAPEEK. That'll just work admirably in their favor. It'll give them that chance to get that economy, as well as a round disparity that they can work with. For now, every mistake they made, it gets punished not only by the economic loss, but by the fact that they have that other round against them, and they hand MBAPEEK the lead. Yeah. They're still the T-side of Inferno. They're
don't forget, Inferno is a city side.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a city-sided map, but we saw Red Star, he's performing out of his mind today. But on the other side, Wonderful is going ham. And let me remind you, he's only 15 years old. We're saying this every day. We're repeating it, and I will continue doing that. He's 15, and he's doing so well versus players that have proven themselves multiple times on the big stage. Not speaking about domestic or Bulgarian tournaments, on the big stage.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we'll just see how it goes. Because this round, it's going to be important. It's going to be really, really important. And for Majesty, they need it for the confidence as well, because regardless of what happens here, I think it's safe to assume they'll lose Mirage. So they really need this round, or this game, and better still if they can do it convincingly. I think Tok is not quite expected to be on sandbags right now. And he'll look to try and strike. He'll make a bit of noise onto Victor. He'll drop a smoke down, and I think both teams neither want to fight. CP is going to find Darkside on the other side of the map, though. He's going to find Native as well, as the long grab just does not work for Majesty. CP, again, the anchor for MBAPEEK, just works so well for them.
Now he's got the help of Ships, who attacks Throne. 2 players from Majesty down to the red sector. and thrown already out of the round. Wonderful talk in a 2v5, and that's such a nice round to have if you're MBAPEEK. Just what an amazing recovery from them. They're not losing a single member, and it's only wonderful. Yes, he's been on fire, but what can he realistically do after, like, against 5 well-equipped players that have the bomb as well?
It looks like his only option is to save. He's going to back away from maps. Unfortunately, it's going to be heard, and it wouldn't surprise me if we see MBAPEEK try and hunt him down, as he'll cling to that big green stick and he'll pray that he can take it into the next round. And an AWP, it's a gun that can do really well on ecos and poor buys, simply because it has that one-shot potential. But to what extent, as we look at this, MBAPEEK, they're all around him. He is genuinely about to be hunted down, and only 10 seconds left. It's just going to be a full collapse going through. No scope, one switch to the P250, Bubble to finish the job, and I rarely see fights in that area, but in that part of the map, but I'm glad they got to, as MBAPEEK, they lead 5-4, and for Majesty, they can just scrape together a buy, but to what avail?
That was a really nice call from MBAPEEK. They know they have money, even though even though they're the CTs, they had so much money, they could afford to lose 1 or 2 players here just to take that up from the hands of Wonderful, because they know that Majesty now don't have money. They don't have money to afford the ult. They don't have money to afford like 5 AKs. They have 2 Galils. They have really limited utility, and on the other side, MBAPEEK, they look really, really good on the CT side now.
Yeah, without a doubt. It is tied up 5-5. Oh, sorry, 5-4. 5-5 in terms of man count. It's only been damage that's been done either way. As MBAPEEK, they look to stack this A site, and that worries me for Majesty because they haven't really showed any intentions towards B, and they do only have 2 smokes to commit anywhere they choose to go to with. Looks like this nade stack will be due for Sleepy though, which means he's going to be in a world of a lovely nade stack thrown to finish the job. Victor set aside, he'll make it 1, but Throne's there to finish him off. Chip's going to aggress with Red Star. Going to do some damage with Red Star. He's so quick onto the site. He'll make it 1. There's players all around him, though. Darkside to finish the job. And Chips is back on her way. 2 versus 3 now for MBAPEEK. And unfortunately for them, Majesty, they've been able to dig in. They've been able to get to their afterplant positions. And just like that, they're going to have a really, really difficult time trying to find these players.
And Ships, he knows there's a player lurking in Abs, but look at how smart Darkside is playing that. Bobo now finds the first. Darkside needs to go a bit faster. There's a smoke on the bomb. Bobo, he needs to stick the bomb. Ships will go down. Same goes for Bobo, and that's 5-5. Majesty, they're just not giving up, and both teams, they're playing round for round.
Without a doubt. And when you play round for round, it is always in favor of the T side. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And with these bomb plants, it just makes it even better for them. We're going to see a pause come through from MBAPEEK just to get a chance to collaborate with what to change, what's been going wrong, and what to fix, as Majesty have shown that they are quite the opponents on Inferno.
Of course, and MBAPEEK's bank looks a bit like shaky because look at Sleepy. Like, Ships has the money to full buy with an AWP, with everything. I think MBAPEEK now are discussing whether to try the double AWP on Ships and Bubble or not. Because we've seen Bubble play the AWP. He was an AWPer in Windigo for a while. Like, I'm not sure if it was for a long time, but I'm sure he was. At one point, an AWPer in his career. And I want to see him aggress towards Banana. I actually really hope that he gets the AWP.
We'll have to see. A pause comes, or unpause comes through from Majesty. We'll see if, there we go. It's tied up 5-5, and we're kind of at a stage now where it's hard to see who's going to take this half. There's only 5 rounds left. It could genuinely go either way.
Because every round is for reset. Like,
absolutely.
MBAPEEK, they look better, speaking economically wise, of course. But now, after losing this round, they're playing for reset as well. Majesty, they still don't have the bank to rebuy 2 rounds in a row.
And for MBAPEEK, fortunately, it will be Sleepy just delegated down to a UMP. And that could come into effect as well because he's forced to play at this close angle in pit. If there's contact made, it's going to be so hard to fight. That being said, Red Star's the one who aggresses. Dark Side to full. Majesty, their response will be a standard take towards Banana. They've played it contact. They've shifted on forward. The set pieces lined up. The flashes to follow, the bodies to swing to the side. Victor going to lose his head. It's down to Bubble, thrown to win the aim duel. And just like that, MBAPEEK, they have collapsed towards this B site. Unfortunately, they do have 3 players to try and retake. 3 versus 4 is a doable scenario. But looking at the positioning of Sleepy and Red Star, it will be a save to come through. An M4 and AK in their hands, and for MBAPEEK, they're going to have to cling to these guns and pray Majesty can't find them.
I don't think Majesty will go for the hunt. Like, they will use this. They'll say, okay, you give us an attempt to just try and stay and keep 4 players alive. We'll do that. We'll take that. Thank you. Because now, if they stay all 4 alive, which they will, I think they could buy till the rest of the half. If they win 1 more round, of course. Look at the money just constantly coming in. If they win 1 more round, Majesty, they will be able to buy till the end of the half.
Yep. And for me, that is a scary prospect if you are on the side of MBAPEEK, because things just aren't really working for them. You know, they're down to Deagles on Sleepy. He's got utility, but he's still only on a UMP. And for Majesty, they are actually looking at what could potentially be victory in the first half. They are maintaining a full AK setup simply because I think AWPs are too kind of expensive as a dream for at the moment. Majesty, they find themselves up in a default. They don't commit anywhere too heavily just yet. Ships can take a bit of util damage just to poke at him. Darkside going through a volley. He needs to watch out, but Throne is so quick to punish. And MBAPEEK, not only do they lose their AWP, but Victor, he can't aggress to try and find it. He'll swing wide. It's going to be thrown there waiting for him as Native looks to catch out some players towards top mid. He'll hear Red Star back away, and instead he'll just go back himself. Talk swinging with a Glock for some reason there. As Bubble's able to trade. Maybe a bit of a blunder from Majesty.
That's the gamble stack from MBAPEEK. They're going 3 towards that B side. Sleepy all alone with the UMP, the lone defender of A. And they're going towards his direction. That's the worst part. Red Star with the rotation, but he can't go through the smoke. He just can't do that. So Sleepy, he's isolated on site.
Darkside can go through a smoke of his own, as it will be Bubble to just hold it. He's wary of a player being there, as it looks like they might just shift into each other if they're not careful. Majesty, their true push will be towards B. Darkside will find one enemy that Victor has to swing, and swing he does. He makes it another 2, and with the assistance of Red Star, MBAPEEK from the jaws of what looks like a positional defeat are able to tie us up 6-6 with Majesty. Both teams able to justify a buy. It's a scrape of a buy for Darkside, but most of Majesty are going to be able to get away with the odd bit of AK, the odd bit of armor, and some utility to complement it.
That was such a huge information play from Victor. Of course, ending up with 3 kills wins the round for them, but he knew that Majesty are opposed to that, towards that A side. He had to push because the rotation for Sleepy was so delayed because of the smokes, and he did the right decision here. Brilliant play by Victor.
Without a doubt.
And now Majesty, they have somewhat of a respect build up for MBAPEEK now. Look at them. They're just playing the slow default. They're waiting for the grenades, and they will try and late take banana. But Bobo, he's on the boost. I don't think they will anticipate it, as this is the first time that we see 3 players on B and a player on the boost. They have no idea. Bobo with the double spray down and 2-man advantage for MBAPEEK. And that was 2 AKs falling down, I believe. Majesty, they're in front of a reset round.
Yeah, and when you're this late into the half, a reset round can be detrimental to how comfortable your second half is. As Darkside will make his way on forward. It looks like for Majesty they are going to commit towards this B here. It's early smoke that's deployed towards CT, but that molly is just going to prevent too quick of a push. I think Majesty want to sell the fake, but there's so much utility for MBAPEEK right now. The follow-up flashes go on through. Contact made towards Emo. How does Red Star hold? Darkside, a lovely shot. Victor, though, he's going to line up first, looking for a second Native to put an end to that. And in a 2 versus 3, it's doable for Majesty, but with Native on such a low amount of HP, he needs to be very, very careful, especially when Bubble is just trying to catch him off guard right now. There's no smoke for CT, and Chips knows he'll aggress, finding the first, finding the second with that Deagle, and then MBAPEEK. They make it 7-6 against Majesty, as things look just that bit better for them.
That looked really dangerous, by the way. The 2v5 going with the 2 entries on B without any response from MBAPEEK. Of course, they did pretty much a lot of damage, actually, but no cigar at the end in this round for Majesty. 7-6. Ships. I think Ships went with the op towards B, or no, he's on short. Okay. There's the eco from Majesty, of course, the pistols. MBAPEEK don't want to get up close versus the eco. And Ships, he could be in a lot of trouble right now. Gets 1, 2, 3 for Ships with the Deagle. And okay. I take my words back. He shouldn't be careful.
Yeah, and it's going to be Red Star for the rest of the Red Star is feeling confident. He'll be punished for that, though. Victor to finish the job.
Imagine being...
Wonderful, killed the wrong man there. He killed a person through Victor, or through Bubble.
Imagine being Red Star now. You see the smoke, you fall back because you know they're pistols, you go to ships to fall back. He doesn't do that. He gets pushed from 3 players, he kills all of them. Afterwards, you push through the smoke and you just get headshotted.
It just shows that
Unlucky.
The stars are aligning for ships right now. MBAPEEK, not only do they secure a victory in the first half, it's their chance to make it a bit more convincing. An 8-6 lead as we enter the final round of the first half. For Majesty, it's going to be a fast push towards B.
This nade damage.
So much. Victor there to find 2 more with the distance of Red Star. Wonderful's able to trade, but Bubble is going to look to find just that bit more. A lovely little 2-piece there. It's a 9-6 victory at the end of the half, and as MBAPEEK go to that more difficulty side, Wonderful and Co for Team Majesty desperately need this pistol round.
They do, because we can see MBAPEEK. I think their easiest side is the T side actually, because they have such good individuals. We've seen so many good pre-fires, so many good picks. They want 1v1 duels versus anybody. They just want 1v1s, and on the T side you get the chance to do that. They love playing the defaults. They love just going for that aggressive peaks, and on the side of Majesty, we need a second guy, despite of Wonderful, to step up.
Without a doubt. And now, with a 9-6 victory in the first half for MBAPEEK, you said
Look at the
really
utility damage
for
for
just
MBAPEEK.
Utterly disgusting. And it just shows that not only do they have individual skill in terms of aim, they have it in map knowledge, they have it in kind of team play, and every time you're doing that bit of utility damage, it's extra damage you don't have to do when aiming. And for MBAPEEK, if they can take this pistol round, it might be a very quick best-of-3 series.
I think so as well. Majesty, they desperately need something to surprise MBAPEEK with, and you know what? Why not just stack somewhere or just push middle? Go for the counter. Just do the exact same thing that MBAPEEK did on their pistol. Show them that you have confidence in yourselves.
And if you can show confidence and you can make it work, it could actually force MBAPEEK to be a bit more passive.
Exactly.
And wait till they have ults before they push fully. And that buys you about 2 or 3 rounds. Hence, things look really, really strong for Majesty. But it all comes down to the pistol round. They desperately need it. The unpause comes through. The buy from Majesty going to comprise of a kit and 2 flashes, then armor around the board. And MBAPEEK, we're going to see 2 smokes, a complement of mollies and flashbangs to follow through. So we could see an execution somewhere with those 2 smokes. I suspect it will be towards A. But regardless, it will be ships leading that charge up Banana, getting into a kind of dug-in position while he waits for the push to come through. Majesty, they go for the information play as Darkside gets a bit aggressive towards mid, not finding anything though. As it looks like he is about to shift forward regardless though.
He shouldn't get too curious though, because he will leave his teammates all alone. There's only one guy from Majesty watching apartments currently. Darkside will spot one. Victor gets one frag to throw, and now Abs is clear. But there's no rotation. Majesty, they take the right decision. They decide to push Banana, but Chips, he's there, he's ready, gets the double, and now Majesty, I don't see how they will win this round unless Darkside goes huge. The first for him, but the trade is there, and it's really, really fast. Yep. Yeah, I told you.
Yeah,
I told you.
He's just deleted everyone.
And Victor as well. Victor, Red Star, and Ships, they're having such a good game right now.
And, you know, Sleepy, he's going 6-7, but the impact of those kills,
he's the anchor.
Impact of those kills as well that have just been, I think it's 2 or 3 rounds that have been decided off the back of those 6 kills. So props to CP as well. And MBAPEEK, they are looking so strong. Majesty, their buy is going to be smokes and deagles with nothing else. It looks like it's probably a premeditated strat. We'll see what they can get done with it though, as if they die without these smokes being deployed, it is kind of a waste of investment. But regardless, we'll see what they have in store for us.
They will try to just delay MBAPEEK with the smokes.
Yep.
Maybe the first smoke will come around 1 minute, 1:05, 1:10, something like that, or maybe even later, because Majesty, they wanna make MBAPEEK run through the smokes this round. That's their chance of winning. They wanna make MBAPEEK run through the smokes with a flash and maybe get a couple of frags to players that are just jumping out.
Without a doubt.
And that's why they rotate another player towards B, because on B, both players don't have a smoke now. They're rotating a third guy just so he could re-smoke once the execution comes from MBAPEEK, and this time is now. They'll throw the grenades, and afterwards, Wonderful will deploy the smoke.
Once the set piece goes down, let's see what the response is. As you called, Smoke goes down, but it looks like MBAPEEK might just go straight through it. A few deagle shots ringing out here or there, and never mind. They stagnate, they take a moment to breathe, they relax, and Throny still has his smoke. However, he's on the other side of the map. 30 seconds left, and now the push comes through Bubble. He'll take even more damage. As now the set piece goes down, let's see what the response is. As Doc he'll spam as much as he can. Wonderful to make it to a lovely little opening. CP, that MAC-10 is going to ring true with the accompaniment of ships. 15 seconds left, and in a 3 versus 3, this suddenly looks really strong for Majesty. Even though they might not win the round, the damage they've done, the utility they've burned from MBAPEEK makes it completely worthwhile.
Let's see, nice up plant here for MBAPEEK. Sleepy goes for the fight onto Throne, takes him down, and now Wonderful and Darkside. I don't think they have anything to do now. Throne will go for that max damage, maybe try to scavenge a weapon. He won't be allowed though. Sleepy will just go and farm him with the MAC-10. 11 rounds, MBAPEEK, and now first. Oh no, they don't have money actually, so because they invested too much in the last round, that's gonna be a half buy for Majesty. That's the risk of having
scary.
this like second round. It's kind of force, but you don't want to invest everything because you want the ability to play an op afterwards and have a lot of utility. So it's kind of semi-force, semi-buy with the smokes and the deagles. It's still a big risk, and now they have a similar buy to last round, with the difference being 2 armors on the board. And one of them doing its job already. Native with the kill on the ships.
He'll take a bit of damage through that smoke though. Victor making sure he doesn't get the A-gate, but regardless, he's able to. Native, he's going to back on away, but Red Star, he's got aggressive up long. He's all the way pushed up. Bubble finding one. Sleepy with the second. And just like that, the ace sight hold for Majesty has collapsed. Throne is looking to go through this smoke and ring out a few shots here or there, but Bubble's going to put a stop to those antics. Native and Tok, it looks like their only objective and sole purpose of this round will be to save that AK and have Tok there to support him just in case, as they'll make their way back down towards T-Spawn. MBAPEEK, they line themselves up to lead 12-6.
And we can see the individual skill coming in for MBAPEEK clutch once again. Even if they make a mistake, even if they start around weakly, they managed to recover on the back of a player just doing some insane shots. And the thing is that, yes, in a daily basis, you can't just rely on someone going huge. But when all 5 players could go huge and they're doing it, I think that works for MBAPEEK. They're taking chances, they're taking risks, but they know that they can come extremely clutch when they need to.
Without a doubt. And as that free flash comes on down, a nice little shot from Tok there. Majesty, they make it there. They find themselves 6 rounds behind. A pause comes through from MBAPEEK, and what concerns me is Majesty, they haven't really used any of their timeouts at all. So we'll see what they can get done, as Majesty, they buy up as best as they can. We're going to see the AWP come out. They got the utility to complement it. For MBAPEEK, they do have a few AKs, and they could choose to AWP should ships decide he feels the need to. But if Majesty lose this round, if they get reset once more, MBAPEEK pretty much run away with the map.
Yeah, that's pretty much do or die for them.
Yep.
Because once they get to 13, it will be equal 14-6. They will have a buy round again, but do they actually have the nerves to win so many rounds in a row? Like 10 rounds in a row.
Yeah, it'll be hard to say.
I don't see how this will happen, and they won't have a lot of money. I actually wanted to see double warp so badly on Inferno. Unfortunately, not a single one of the teams want to do that. Wonderful though, he's having one hell of a game. Like he's managing to outfrag everybody from MBAPEEK, and he's losing the map 12-6.
Yeah, and for Wonderful, he's just been insane. Like, I haven't seen him have a quiet game yet this tournament. And if I was in the kind of position of Wonderful, I'd be happy with this. Regardless.
You know what? I think like in 1 or 2 years' time, we'll be seeing this kid performing really well on the big stage. Yeah,
without a doubt. And
he has so much potential, in my opinion.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. MBAPEEK is going to be a poor buy, that being the MAC-10 on CP choosing to be saved. Wonderful, he goes for an aggressive peek towards Banana, unable to find anything as this MAC-10 now comes in prevalent. It's a quick push towards A. Early swing goes around of MBAPEEK. Their sights are set on this A site, especially with an ounce presence going through. The nade stack lands on Throne's head, doing a little bit of damage to him, not as much as I think you'd expect. As CP swings wide, he finds one. Tok there to trade. as more pushes come through on either side. Dr. Fallen, these trades from Majesty are working perfectly for them. And Throne, he's able to actually volley off the bomb. That's scary. Bubble finding wonderful. And now Tok, he's just being so tenacious just to stay in the pit and to force people out of position. Finding Victor as well. And I think MBAPEEK, they just realized, okay, fine, we just won't even look at Pip. We'll just ignore it and hope he goes away as he finds Bubble as well. Throne going absolutely huge, though. Red Star in a 1v2, finding the first 1v1. Native making his way up from mid, shifting on forward. Red Star, will he be ready for him? He's made a step as well. He's making noise. Native, this is his round to win. And win it, he does. Majesty, they make it their 7th of MBAPEEK. They can go on to another bye, but it won't be as strong.
I really hope that we could see a replay later on of that Throne play from Pit.
Yeah.
That was from the notebook, straight from the notebook. Everything that Throne did from Pit, it was just how you're supposed to do it, and that gives his team a second chance. Because MBAPEEK, they did a pretty decent job. They were trading 1-for-1. They got the first kill, and we know pretty good that 1-for-1 trades always favor the T side. But this time, Throne, he wasn't going for the 1-for-1. He went for the 1-for-4.
The amount of pertinacity it takes for Throne just to sit in pit and to constantly swing and just take a duel after duel, to stay calm, use your flashbangs, it is just so impressive. Majesty with this buy is looking very strong as Wonderful and Tok responding. Kind is going to be more aggression from Tok as he'll make it his 2nd of the round. And with 3 men down, and MBAPEEK, they need Red Star or Sleepy to go absolutely huge right now for them. Sleepy making his way forward from Apps is going to be met by Darkside, the awaiting Jewels of Death. We'll see if he commits to it, though. He's hesitating for just a moment, as Darkside did come up with that. Yes, he did ring out a few shots. It's messy, but eventually he'll find him. Red Star alone going to Fool and Majesty. They make it 8 as this game suddenly looks that bit more competitive.
And that's the reset for MBAPEEK.
Yeah,
so
it is.
Majesty, I think if they manage to win 1 or 2 more rounds, get it closer like 12-10, 12-11, we'll definitely see a tactical pause soon for MBAPEEK. I feel that they will do that. But Majesty, they're starting to feel themselves. They're starting to believe that they can win the round.
Yep, without a doubt. And I think that those few rounds, because they were so one-sided, that's going to give them that confidence to
because you saw
go huge.
The first half, even though they were getting the first peak almost every round, they just didn't believe that they could win it.
Yep. Ship's going to go towards being almost finding ahead of Native there. Native, he'll just finish the job. He'll make sure that Ships doesn't get too confident. He'll have none of those tricky ideas from him. As MBAPEEK, they are just set up towards Banana, looking for the odd kill here or there. Native, I think he's more than wary of this. He'll spot Bubble boosted up. He'll just drop that smoke. Swing wide, doing damage where he can. Bubble almost falling through that smoke with the assistance of Tok. And MBAPEEK, they've got no utility whatsoever. Their only choice is to just run somewhere and hope for the best. But Majesty, they're set up around the map. They're ready for this. Looks like it will be a coordinated push through this smoke. Just boost up early on. Run boost coming through. It's a lovely 2K from Tok there. Native to try and finish the job, but Bubble to find him. And now with a plant, MBAPEEK, that's all they set out to do. They wanted to get a plant. That's what they get. They get 2 kills as well, even better. If Bubble can find anything more, that just makes the whole round categorically worth it. So Flash goes out. He's forced to hide. And with Majesty players all around him. He'll find the first, looking for a second. Trying to spam as best as he can, switching to the Deagle. But Darkside will finish him off. Majesty, they make it 9. And MBAPEEK, for their eco, that went extremely well.
Yeah, that was decent. That was a decent eco. They managed to... I really like the run boost through the smoke.
Yeah, they pulled the crosshair away.
Just to get the attention, yeah, just to pull the crosshair away. They managed to kill 3 people. They managed to get the bomb down. So we'll see probably the AWP that Bubble will probably drop to Ships. No, they're going for the 5 AK buy, which suggests that they will try something fast, I think.
Yep, fast and hard. We've got mollies on pretty much mollies on all of them. So with that limited flashbang, that being some players have to skimp on those as well. So with this fast push, where do you think it's going to be? Well, looks like it will be B. Early contact made. Ship's going to lead that charge. He's had a lot of success when he did this on the pistol round. Let's see if it will work with some stronger guns. As they just line themselves up for a bit of a push. They take a moment to stagnate. They use the standard utility to just force Majesty players back, and utility damage is going either way, but more onto Majesty. Native falling to 50 HP, Doc to about 75. As it's a flash just to get Majesty away. Push comes through from MBAPEEK, and it looks like they'll line themselves up for just a standard execution. They've only got 1 molly, so it's going to be very hard to get people out of position, but they have plenty of smokes to cordon off a site. Wonderful with the sword. Gonna swing wide, finding the first, dropping back down, looking for a second as Native finds one through the smoke. We got Top responding in kind. Victor able to get the final say in the matter. And with Victor, suddenly he's alone. The plant will come down as he'll drop that smoke, but with no money on MBAPEEK, this is really, really scary for them, considering Majesty, they're going to win this with such a strong buy as well, and with so many players left standing. I worry for them. Victor, he'll make some noise as he reloads towards Killer, falling back towards Emo. Darkside's going to swing wide on Banana. Spotty's doing damage. The body's going to force him out. And Throne is going to finish the job. Majesty, they hit double digits. MBAPEEK, this round lead is reduced to only 2 rounds. And their buy, it's going to be poor.
Do you remember what we said about the quiet waters being the deepest ones?
Yep.
I think Majesty are just showing us that this is true. Yeah. Like, they didn't go confident whatsoever into this. They didn't say, yes, we're gonna win, yes, we feel comfortable. They said, we are proud that we got up to this point. We're just gonna have some fun, play the best CS that we can. We're playing with a standard, and they're doing such a great job so far.
I mean,
there's the half buy from MBAPEEK, by the way. They're going fast towards middle. The fast start smoke is there. They will push through it. Oh, dark side.
That's beautiful. The assistance of Wonderful made that work admirably for them. Ships fighting through the smoke, though. Majesty, they may have got a bit too confident. They went down towards Banana. They were punished, and now it's going to be a race to the Beast site. Ships dropping that flash. It means he'll be able to swing wide early on. Swing goes through. He's able to find Darkside as well as Wonderful. Uncharacteristically misses the first shot. He's there to find the second. Ships in a 1 versus 2. He'll be on for the ace. The volley going to force him away as he'll back on off, looking for more Angels to take. Wonderful to finish the job as he'll make it 3K. And now it's only 1 round that separates these 2 teams.
That was such a nice half investment, by the way, by MBAPEEK. They were so close to win a 2v5, Bubble and Ships. Unfortunately, though, Dolphin Wonderful just does bits this game. He's already 24 and 14, being the only player in the server over 20 frags. And they're all impact frags. Like, he's fragging in the most important times.
For MBAPEEK, there's going to be another buy of AKs here and there. We haven't really seen them get any chance with an AWP yet. However, on the topic of utility, that is a beautiful nade onto Tok, doing 60 damage to him. Bubble now, he's going to aggress with that. The initial damage done by the nade means that he's able to take the Angel with Tok and win, regardless of the fact that he was in a very disadvantageous position to peek from. MBAPEEK they'll set up towards Banana. We've got Majesty as well, doing a fairly confident rotation, that being of 2 other members. It leaves just Throne alone towards Pit, and we've seen how effective Throne can be from Pit. The question is, how so? Because Bubble is stunning this fake admirably. There's not even an inkling of a rotation from Majesty, and Throne has got a hold against 4. He needs some absolute heroics from him right now. As with a minute left on the clock, the full swing going to come wide. He'll hear the players drop. He'll find Red Star. He'll drop down. He knows the players around him, but Sleepy's there to finish the job. Majesty, they find themselves. That round win spree has been broken.
And that's safe.
Yeah,
they
it's
won't
got to
even
be
go
safe.
for it. It's the correct decision in this situation. They don't know where MBAPEEK players are. They have utility. They have 2 smokes, 2 flashes, but they don't have the money to risk it. Like, they want to save now, so they could rebuy 2 times after.
Yep, without a doubt. And as that bomb will go on off, it looks like MBAPEEK, they can't really justify trying to save either, or trying to hunt, my apologies, as, again, their money is also very poor. Majesty, they've had such a long win spree that they will be able to invest without too many issues, but for MBAPEEK, they're only 2 or 3 rounds away from victory.
And look at the utility damage still being mad on the side of MBAPEEK. Look at Bubble. Look at what Bubble, Red Star, and Victor are all doing. Of course, Native as well doing some, but there's 3 players from MBAPEEK.
1-man army.
Bubble has over 400 utility damage already. 400. That's so much.
Without a doubt. And for MBAPEEK, if they can win this, they can look so strong. They can look to close out the map. As Majesty, I'm pretty sure they're on a poor buy after this. If they lose this, we either look at Tok and throw in some money. It will just be pistols and armor. Maybe a drop from Wonderful if they really want to force, but regardless, they just don't have the rounds to play with. So Wonderful, he's going to jump on top of Throne Z. We're going to see a little bit of a creative boost and a peek towards mid. We'll see if it's able to pay off. It won't matter though. Native will find Victor on aggression towards Banana. The molly from Bubble will finish the job, as it will be a lovely shot from Wonderful to find Ships. Majesty with a man advantage, a scenario they are more than comfortable with, as in Boiler. Red Star's able to strike onto Throne. He'll fall to 15 HP, but regardless, he still stands and he still evens it out as a 3v3. Now CP looks to lurk in from Apps.
It's a 2-1 setup from Team Majesty. Red Star though found through the smoke. Same goes for Sleepy Departments. And now Bobo in a 1v3, the in-game leader, knows where both players are. He could go back to B, realistically, and it's clear for him. He could just go back, pull his knife out, and go on full W. And that's what he's doing. He's just going for the full rotation. But Majesty, they know that there's a chance. They're staying close. I don't think Majesty should send a guy towards B now. Maybe if they want, they should send 2 because they don't want to give Bubble these like 1v1 duels. They can retake 3v1. But nevertheless, they do send Talk, who has a molly, has a smoke. He can delay it, but he's just staying on this off angle. That's a really nice position. I don't think Bubble will anticipate that.
He doesn't have a smoke for CT either. He's just got a nade in his hands, and that's it. A beat towards CT. Spotting Tok, doing a bit of damage either way. 8 seconds left. He's got no choice but to plant. And Tok, he can just aggress to cancel it. Molly's going to land at his feet. The trade is there. Majesty, they make it 12. And for MBAPEEK, they can just about buy up. But this game is getting disgustingly close.
And MBAPEEK, they can still rebuy. As you said, Majesty as well looking a bit better. I love when it gets to that point where both teams, they're just playing round for round and there are no equals. Like every round is a buy round because everyone is winning their buys so well. They don't lose players. When they win a buy round, they don't lose anybody. And now MBAPEEK, they didn't kill almost anybody. They were 3 alive from Majesty, but MBAPEEK managed to plant the bomb, which allows them to have a pretty decent buy. So it's like we were watching overtime. And it's, I prefer that kind of CS because it's really painful to watch the final 2 or 3 rounds, and when you lose one, you need to equal and just concede and admit that the others will get to 14 or 15 and there's nothing you could do.
Yep, without a doubt. Unfortunately, this is a... even though it's great to watch, this is a reset potential. So Majesty, if they make it 12 or if they make it 13, they are more than definitely going to make it 14. MBAPEEK, they either need to get a plant here or they need to do some significant damage to Majesty and, or even better still, win. Going to be early banana control being established as they make their way on forward. Majesty, they've got 3-man set up to try and hold it. Wonderful going to be the initial point of contact, entering that AWP duel with ships, something we haven't really seen between these two players very often. Let's see how it fares though, as contact about to be made. There's a minute left on the clock. The set piece goes down. The flash to follow. The swing through. And Wonderful and Tok, they respond beautifully. A lovely 2K. Molly's dropped around the board. And there's nothing that MBAPEEK can do. They back on away. They stagnate in Banana. And Majesty, they've repusted the initial attack. The follow-up, though, will be towards the A site. Bubble leading the charge with that off. Trying to go fast and trying to just get an early kill. But it's going to be down to both Dark Side and Throne, the lone members who have just abused this pit to the point of just a victory every single time. Contact hasn't been made. 25 seconds on the clock. And MBAPEEK, they've got no choice but to push right now. Bubble, he'll ring out a few shots towards Throne. They're able to tag him through the box, but not much else other than that. Tok and Darkside, they respond. It's down to just Victor. 30 HP, 15 seconds. No hope, no utility, and no chance. As Majesty, they tie things up 13 to 13. Let's see what Victor is able to do in terms of saving, but regardless, it's a very scary scenario, especially as Darkside tries to pressure him down. There won't even be an AK saved. MBAPEEK, their economy in utter tatters. And for Majesty, this is their chance to run away with it.
Yep. Majesty, they have a pretty decent shot. I think the pulse should come in for MBAPEEK if they have one more. They're going for actually not a full investment. AKs and ships and Red Star, Mac-10s, Deagos. I want to see a fast round from them. Like, fast going towards apps. Maybe again the fast arch smoke and running. Yeah, second mid towards arch with the fast arch smoke just running through the smoke. Bobo with a lot of utility damage again.
Let's see how it goes, because with 3 players towards Banana, it's going to be down to Dark Side and Throne. He'll fall. It's down to Dark Side now, the lone man to try and hold. He'll make it a second, looking for a third, but Victor to finish the job. 3 versus 3 now for Majesty to try and retake this site, as but he'll hover for a moment before he gets that plant, and it is planted for pits, so we're going to see a very kind of dynamic response to this retake. Wonderful dropping that early molly. He's going to force Bubble back. The molly's landing all over this site. Victor, he's got no choice but to swing at just the most convenient moment, but Bubble is trapped towards center site. There'll be players around him. Talk to find the first. Victor and Chips to respond, and MBAPEEK, off the back of a 4 spy round, are going to make it a 14th. 14-13 they lead. And for Majesty, they can buy with relative ease, but their economy is going to start scraping the bottom of the barrel, especially
if you're Majesty, that's a heartbreaking round to lose, because that was their chance to go up front. That was their chance to play versus a weaker buy, and then MBAPEEK, they just managed to make that set piece work again. By the way, Sleep is having so much impact with going in first. Like, he's a really nice entry. He gets the first frag, manages to drag the attention of the second player towards him, and of course his team is doing what they can to win the duos. Nice setup here from Majesty. Aggression in apartments. Red Star though with the pre-fire. Throne is down, and now Wonderful. He continues to aggress, but he needs to be careful. There are only 2 Majesty players on this A site, and Throne is one of them with the AWP. He falls back. MBAPEEK, this is for the map. If they win this round, the map is pretty much theirs. Bubba with the entry, and now Wonderful. He needs to go huge. Hits the first, manages to fall back into pit. But now he will get mollied. Goes for the repeat. There's a smoke. Jump. Ooh. Nice shot from Wonderful. Oh my goodness, what are you doing? But he pulls out the CZ, and there's the trade from Red Star. 2v2 now. Bubba is up close, gets pre-fired by Talk, and now Red Star all alone. 1v2. Can he pull it out? 1 HP. They do pre-fire him. Red Star finding the first, but not the second. 14-14. What a play from Wonderful. What was that?
A lovely little nose. The first was great. The second was
He shouldn't be allowed to do that. He's 30-16. He's all alone, getting pushed from every single side, getting mollied, getting flashed, and he kills 3.
I bet if he had a quicker pistol to pull out as well, other than a CZ, he could have made it 4.
I think he had to go for the no-scope for the 4th as well.
Yeah.
Like,
14-14, it's tied up. MBAPEEK and Majesty, both of them with poor buys. Darkside, Throne, and Sleepy with some base SMGs. Native, he's going to aggress on Banana. This time, Chips is ready for him. More flashes continue going on off, and Chips, he's weighing up the options to go aggressive. That molly is going to force Chips forward, though. Tok going to trade, and with the lack of response from MBAPEEK, it is going to give Majesty a chance to tie things up. 4 versus 4. MBAPEEK, they accelerate towards the A site. It will be down to Wonderful and Throne to try and hold. Wonderful will spam through that smoke a little bit before rotating back down towards the site. Throne trying to swing out, trying to get as many kills as he can. He'll find one. He'll be alive for some miracle. But Double able to trade. 3 versus 3. It's going to be a fast retake coming forward from Majesty, considering they're already in their positions. As Bubble in Graveyard, he's going to be pivotal to holding this. He needs to try and catch him out by surprise. Early molly and smoke goes on down. And for Bubble, he just needs a well-timed swing. Well-timed it is. He'll find 1. He'll find 2. Looking for a 3rd. Darkside going to try and finish it off, but Victor's the man to finish the job. MBAPEEK, they hit match points. They make it 15. And with a 15-14 lead established for themselves, Majesty, they go down to yet another poor buy. There's 2k on most of their players. The only man with any reminiscence of economy is a Native going for that AWP. Wouldn't surprise me if we see it drop to Wonderful instead. It'll be Native going for an early pick towards Banana with it, and he so desperately needs to find a kill with it.
And MBAPEEK, I think now they should just go for that slow default. Just wait. You know that the enemies don't have a lot of money, but they're going for the aggression play, and they continue pushing. Darkside finding 1. Are we going to an overtime for real? Victor will get 1 in return. Chips strikes down Talk, and now a 3v3.
Wonderful is in such an aggressive position
But
as well.
look at Red Star. He's all alone. Finds 1. Knows the second is in apps, and he's waiting for him. Red Star has the read. Gets sloppy, but gets the kill, and now Native. Dope buyer, he killed 1 in the beginning. He needs a 4k in this round. And he hears Victor. He could have a chance, misses the non-scope. Goes for the repeat, and now a 1v2. 22 HP, 2 flashes on his disposal versus Victor and Red Star. He's playing for the map and pretty much for the series, because we know we're going on to Mirage for the second one. Native, can he pull it out for his team? Can we go to overtime?
We'll have to see, making his way down from mid towards short. Look to one of these members, and MBAPEEK, they are not shy of expending their utility. They're just lining up. They know that this game could be in the bag if they play it properly. Native looking to spam down through Broken Wall, not finding the first. It's a lovely little response as well. Red Star to finish the job. And with that, MBAPEEK take the first game 16-14.
Wow. Like, That was maybe the most interesting map we've had on a best of 3 so far.
Yeah.
Maybe, no. After Peak versus Kate. Peak versus Kate. But that was such an intense map. Majesty, they showed up big time.
That was huge for Majesty.
They were playing such a well-prepared Counter-Strike on Inferno, and they managed to fight with a team that, as Niku said, that's maybe the best Bulgarian mix we've ever seen.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we're going to see more from the best Bulgarian mix we've ever seen very shortly. We're going to take a quick little break before we bring you map 2 of Mirage. Hello, my name is Peter Kremer, known by the name of Kremer. I'm a CSGO caster, having only a little bit of experience for about 6 months or so. Before that, I was a player for a number of years, and I hope that experience as a player is what's going to be able to give me that advantage going forward as a caster. Honestly, it's kind of surreal. I think inside I'm kind of giggling with excitement, trying to keep a kind of cool exterior, but yeah, it's an incredible setup. I'm genuinely lost for words as to kind of the scale of this, as well as kind of how smoothly the whole thing has been run. I'm really looking forward to casting it, and I genuinely can't wait for the games to get going. Oh, it's going to us. Yep. Hello and welcome back to the Belém Gens Elite Stara Zagora. We just saw our first semi-final, well, the opening of our first semi-final match between MBAPEEK and Majesty. That was an incredible first map of Inferno, going 16-14 in favor of MBAPEEK. We're now going to Mirage, what's been referred to as the playground for this team. So we'll see if Majesty are able to topple them or show that same level of prowess that we saw on Inferno. I'm your caster at Kremer3, and joining me is Teddy.
That just sounds awful.
Should we need a funky intro every time we do this?
Okay, we need a different one then.
Well, I'll come up with one in the freestyle, don't worry.
Yeah, and just like the only guy that can make Jurassic Park look like a documentary.
I was happy with that one.
Oh,
I was happy with
that was nice. That
was the 3-hour flights from the UK to here. That was all I have to show for it. But
you did decent job. You did decent job. I can admit. Regardless, ladies and gentlemen, we had our first map just now. It was Inferno 16-14 in favor of MBAPEEK, and it was Majesty's map choice. And to be honest, I didn't expect such a performance from Team Majesty. Like they
from Wonderful,
nuts.
really
Yeah.
specifically, he did insane.
I will continue saying that time and time again. He is 15 years old. Do you know what I was doing when 15? I was eating sand when I was 15, and this guy's just coming on stage, wrecking people like ships, like Bubble, Victor,
Yeah.
like. That's insane from him, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they have installed for Mirage, because I spoke to them in the post. They were pretty tilted, because not tilted, but just like they regretted that they lost, because they knew that they had a shot at it.
Yeah.
They knew that they could have won, and they knew that this map is going to be harder for them than Inferno was, because it's, after all, doesn't matter that MBAPEEK have played, like 3 of them have played together for 2 years. They've won WSG. Yep. They have played together for the past like 4 or 5 qualifiers that they were online in the past month or so. They're still a mix, and what better for a mix than Mirage?
Yep, exactly. And what better for mix than Dust 2 as well? Mirage and Dust 2, they're the standard mixed picks. And we spoke about how Majesty have really got on Dust 2 as well. I think that's awesome, but I am still very worried. I still worry that it might not be enough. And we've seen MBAPEEK, their quality on Mirage, when they start to get the ball rolling, we see like 12-0 leads. I don't even know if we'll see Dust 2 at this point.
We just saw MBAPEEK dominate Skate on Mirage. But dominate. Like, in Skate, they weren't playing so bad. They were doing mistakes, but they weren't playing so bad. MBAPEEK are just clinical, because it's a map where pure aim can win you the game. Yep. And we have it. Like, we have Red Star, we have Ships, we have Bobo, Victor, Sleepy. All of them pretty good aimers. All of them insanely good aimers, to be fair. So I believe that if Majesty won't, or if Majesty should win, Wonderful needs to go huge here, and not only him. Like, we saw pretty good entries from Dark Side as well. We saw really good gameplay from Majesty as a team, but Wonderful, he needs to go for the carry of the carries of the story of the carrying.
Yeah, without a doubt. And you know, dropping that many kills, dropping a 30 bomb, was it 32 he finished the game with? Dropping that many kills and pretty much soloing your team through a lot of rounds. How many times, where's the repeatability in that? How many times can you do that consistently? Yeah. And if he has found that magic formula that's allowed him to do so, then awesome, but will it be enough for Mirage at least?
Well, the thing is that when you can solo carry your team, that's alright in some scenarios, but when there's 5 people on the other side that can solo carry a team, it's a pretty different story, because every single one of these guys from MBAPEEK could solo carry a team. Yeah. And I'm confident saying that. Like, it's going to be really hard for Wonderful, because he has so much power, so much confidence and experience against him.
Yep. Without a doubt. And is there anyone on MBAPEEK specifically you want to look out for on Mirage?
I will just say the same names. Like, I'm going for Ships and Red Star.
Yeah, I mean, Red Star had a great performance on Inferno as well.
Yeah, both Ships, Red Star. I'm saying these names because these are like the people that need to go huge for MBAPEEK. Yeah. These are the opers. Like, they're the first and secondary op players. Of course, Bobo, he's IGLing, but he's still hitting some insane shots. He's doing so much utility damage, which we saw on Inferno. I think he had over like 500 utility damage at the end of the map, which is insane. I believe we had someone do 600 1 or 2 days ago. It was from BGE Sports, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, on Inferno as well.
Was it Paul? Oh no, it's Choif.
Choif, yeah.
And Chris from Blue Jays as well had like 600 on one game. So we saw, actually, when your team does a lot of utility damage, that helps so much nowadays. Like, in the last 1 or 2 years, like pretty much from the beginning of the Stratus era, utility has become a vital part of winning a map. Without utility damage, you just need, I don't know if you can really win a game without a decent utility damage.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's the reason is that it's like when you're working with computers. Like every time there's a human element, it's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
Nades, it removes that human element. You have a set lineup, you just mouse one, and it does X amount of damage to an X player at any given point. And I love the fact that when you have these set nade executes where you just constantly bomb it up banana, you're doing so much damage which is unavoidable, especially to anyone who's within X distance of it. Whereas someone who's like AWPing, they could miss something at X point, if that makes sense. We're looking at the chat of in-game. It looks like we will be going live fairly shortly. Both teams have said that they're ready. So again, in about a minute or so, we should see Majesty versus MBAPEEK on Mirage. Will Majesty find a way to topple the Giants or the Titans in this match, or are they going to go home early? We will have to
They're
see.
going for the city side as well because this is MBAPEEK's map choice. And what I heard from Darkside, he's like, I hope we manage to snowball on Mirage. Like win the pistol, win the second, the third round maybe, and just snowball, get the ops going, because he knows, and the entire team of Majesty know, if MBAPEEK managed to start and go in the map strong as they finished the last one, it will be really hard for Majesty to keep up.
Yeah, without a doubt, we will have to see just how it fares.
I think they're pretty calm and chill because their main goal was to get to the semifinals. The HLTV matches, the main stage, the semifinal stage. They said it. They said it when they were giving interviews. We are already happy and we feel like winners just getting to the semifinal.
Yep, I love that from them as well.
Yeah.
It's that kind of happy-go-lucky sort of.
And it shows a realistic point of view.
Exactly.
Because they know they are not the best team here.
Yeah.
And not like other teams that were just going on stage. Yes, we think we can win everything and just bomb out to a mix.
Yeah.
Like, they know what they're capable of. And that's why they're tilted when there is a reason. And they're not tilting when they know that they're going to lose the series. I think they're tilted because they lost a map that they could have won. But now they have a realistic, like, they can see the things from above.
Yep, without a doubt. And do you think Wonderful can do it again? Do you think he can get that?
Yeah. I think he's playing with so much confidence. Like, he's feeling himself. Surely he's feeling himself. And ladies and gentlemen, any moment now, we should be ready to hop in the server as all 10 players are in. Everyone is ready. Prediction? Maybe transfer us into the server? Or
Tell you what, while we're waiting production, do you guys have a prediction? Production doesn't have a prediction. Well, we tried. We tried.
Okay,
wow, that's confidence.
Production says 16-4 for MBAPEEK. And ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to start with the pistol round after one or two more resets. Yes, now we're ready on Mirage Map 2, the first semifinal for the day, Majesty versus MBAPEEK. Let's get into it. Majesty, of course, on the city side, we can see the investment being Smoke Flash and an HE in Throne, 4 armors. On the other side, Sleepy will be the guy with the grenades probably, as Bobo, though, takes 1 smoke and 1 flash on his own. We'll see a bit split here, as Bobo will, I assume, smoke either jungle or top connector.
We will have to wait and see. Again, MBAPEEK, they are just spread out around the map, going for early contact, but it will be Native to strike first. Jip's going to full. Victor throwing out the odd bit of contact made towards mid, as the final destination will be the safe site. That jungle smoke has gone down, and Majesty, they are being dinked up. That's 3 players taking a substantial amount of damage. Red Star is getting the window, just trying to get up in the face of these players from Majesty. Wonderful, he's trying to just buy as much time as he can, but Bubble is going on a rampage. He's made it to Sleepy, making it another man in favor of MBAPEEK. As Throny takes even more damage. The lone man, he's got a smoke, a flash, and, well, with no armor and no health, he's got no hope. Bubble to find him, and MBAPEEK, they're going to kickstart the game with a 1-0 lead. Bearing in mind they already have a map lead going into this. If they can take Mirage, they are going to advance to the grand final.
By the way, that's a pause from Bobo. Okay.
Oh, we've lost Red Star.
Yeah. Maybe they have some technical issues. Maybe he needs to restart. We've seen a lot of cases where players start and they just lose sound. They need to restart the PC or just restart the game. But that was a really nice start from MBAPEEK and Majesty. I loved the aggression. Like, they were going for the element of surprise, and now we can see from what's thrown bot, they're going for the force buy. They're not wasting any time. They get the scout, they get the Deagles rolling, and they're gonna go for the aggression plays here. And on the side of MBAPEEK, I think we should just see either a B split or a B rush. And considering they bought so many, like they bought an AK, I believe there will be another one as well. I think they will go for the B split.
I think it'll be a bit, yeah, those AKs go towards mid, Mac-10s just bolt it up.
Yeah, just smoke top connector, smoke window, go for the short play. The B guys, of course, with the bomb. 3 players on middle, 2 in B, just go in, kill them. That's it. Like, that's a perfect second round for the T side of Mirage. Just go for the split or the rush towards that B bomb site.
Let's take a look to see how it will fare for them. Majesty, they're going to be on a very poor buy in, well, it's a buy at that, you know, as the Deagle Scout buy that. We see fairly commonly. Whether or not it works out for them, we will have to see, as they are going to have to find some heads. And MBAPEEK, they do not give you a chance to make a mistake.
Yeah, and there's the 2 Mac-10s. I reckon they will be leading the charge towards that B side. There's the window smoke from Bubble. And that's it. It is the split. 2 guys towards short, 3 guys towards the apartments. MBAPEEK. Oh, Red Star falls in under. Talk, what a shot with the Deagle. Nice flick from him. And now MBAPEEK, they will need to go towards connector. I don't know if they can still go towards short.
Yep, and now for MBAPEEK, with only 3 men remaining, and considering these Deagles have proven to have the tendency to find some heads if you're on the side of Majesty, MBAPEEK needs to be a bit more passive. Bubble towards window, he's going to backstab Native in jungle. He knows Darkside is there as well. It's messy, but with the assistance of ships, they'll be able to bring it back into a 3 versus 3. Once that Major will center sight, Victor finds one looking for the spray transfer, but Throne's going to put an end to that. Flash goes over, ships to find one more, and it falls down to Tok. The lone man, he opened this round with 2 very quick Deagle kills, making it a 3rd. Ship's going to lose his head as he looks to try and take the duel against Bubble. 1 versus 1, he's going on that deep flank. Now might he change his mind, going back towards Connector. As Bubble, he'll make his way down towards Tetris. 1 versus 1, Tok, he's not scared of making noise. He wants it known that he's hunting down Bubble as he'll make his way towards center site. He knows Bubble's going to be at Tetris. Question being, is he able to find him? No, he's not. Bubble, he'll find Tok's head, but regardless, but alas, Tok, that was some disgustingly good shots from him.
We need to add this to the highlight.
That's going straight to the highlight reel.
The second shot
Look
was insane.
That is insane.
That's just disgusting. And Majesty, unfortunately for them, they lose the force buy as they will have to eco now. And MBAPEEK, I think now they will go for the same round. And this time just execute it as they wanted to. The first time, just go for the rush towards that short and B area. Actually, they're sending 2 players towards under ships with a nice opening onto dark side.
That was a lovely shot from Ships there, just to kick things out for Majesty, just to find that early pick. Wonderful looking to trade from window, and unfortunately with the utility expenditure from MBAPEEK, it looks like they were looking to trade it or flush him out with the utility. It won't matter. Ships to find his head, his second of the round. And for Majesty at a 2-man disadvantage, I can't see them doing much more in this round. They do have pistols here or there. There's only armor on Tok, but with no utility and no real effective positioning, it's going to be a fairly easy take for MBAPEEK, who make their way up short. The split comes through, and unfortunately Tok is rotated away at just the wrong moment. We'll see if he can catch any players in transition as he'll make his way towards center site. Spotting Sleepy, doing damage where he can, but as he backs on away, Sleepy actually going to find him, but the skills go either way. It's down to Throne. The lone man, 1 versus 4. Victor's going to delete him.
Nothing he could do.
Yep, and MBAPEEK, they make it a 3-0 lead.
The problem here for Majesty is that they didn't go for the full eco, which means that they don't have money to get an AWP in the hands of Wonderful. And on Inferno, we saw how much impact he can have. Like, he just non-scoped or quick-scoped 3 or 4 guys on Inferno this one by round. All by himself. There's the top middle smoke from Bubble, smokes middle from MBAPEEK. And from what I see, they will probably just finish this round as an A split. There's the aggression as first buy round of Majesty just crumbles into the hands of Ships and his Mac-10. He continues, he's feeling himself now. but Wonderful will stop him. Throne though falls. Bubble Red Star will finish things off. What a round from MBAPEEK. They knew that was going to be the first buy round from Majesty. They expected the aggression play, and Ships with the Mac-10. The idea was for Ships to just go fast towards towards Connector. There was a smoke in window, smoke top middle. He needs to jump through the smoke, get a flash in Connector and kill the con guy, but just the stars aligned for him in this round. 4-0 MBAPEEK and half buy for Majesty, just Deagles, armors, and 2 smokes on the side of the Ukrainians.
Yep, and again, that was a very, very clean round from MBAPEEK. And what that means for them, at least, is that they not only do they build economy, but they build confidence. And for Majesty, we're going to see a few Deagles come out here or there from them. There's a bit of armor, of course, the armor on top of the man who just seems to be insane with it. But there's no real response. Luke actually dropping into a molly. It won't matter. He'll find Wonderful. And now it's a solid setup from MBAPEEK, as we'll see. We'll see Majesty, they're in position to retake, but they've only got a smoke to their name. They can't go off on a flash, but they can go off on a headshot, and a second for Native. Looking for a third, spamming down as best he can, almost finding it, but he's going to be assisted by Darkside. It falls down to Ships, the lone man coming out from ramp. 2 to 5. They're fairly low HP, and they don't have armor, but so what avail does that matter? And Darkside is going to hit a lovely Deagle shot like that. As Majesty, they make it their first. And MBAPEEK, they're told that they can't be just that aggressive. They still have to show respect.
You know, Talk has got 4 kills. All 4 of them are 1 Deags.
Yep.
All 4 of them are 1 Deags.
That's
insane
native, though, as well.
from Majesty. They needed this round, actually. That was really nice, because MBAPEEK, they were going to go on a 5-0 streak. They were going to just snowball their effect to the end. And now Majesty, they have put the stop sign in front of the T side. There's the op and the hands of Wonderful. There's the aggression towards middle. Nice peek from Darkside, but Red Star, they there to trade. And now MBAPEEK, they continue trying to get that mid control and end up as a split. This time towards A side, but oh, look at the minimap. Throne, he's pushed all the way into round, but there's MBAPEEK players all over the place on A side, and Talk, he will fall to Victor. That's so unfortunate, but MBAPEEK, do they know that Throne is in T-round? And Wonderful, he continues his terror with the O. He's not missing any time now.
Early flash going down from CT, a lovely shot from Wonderful, and it's just shots like this that just allow him to just shut down Majesty. It's 1 versus 1, Red Star versus Native, and Red Star realizes that it's just that bit easier to go towards B. AWP in hand, he's ready for the peak, and Native will fall. MBAPEEK, they lead 5-1, and Majesty, their buy ahead is going to be fairly poor at that. It's going to be Bubble that calls the timeout, actually. MBAPEEK, one of the few teams that kind of capitalize and utilizes their timeouts. Just take a moment to calm down after clutches.
They did that versus Kid. We discussed that before the start of the game. MBAPEEK, they know exactly when to call timeouts, especially when they're on the T side. They're calling timeouts all the time because they wanna find ways to keep the enemy's economy low, because that's vital for winning your T side. You need to control the bank of the cities, and that's what MBAPEEK are doing right now. They know that Majesty don't have money. They know that Majesty could force or just go for the half buy here. Throne could even drop an AWP towards Wonderful if he wanted to. So MBAPEEK, they need a moment to just take a brief thought and decide what they're gonna do in this round, because Majesty, they could go for everything now. They could go for an eco, they could go for a half bite, they could go for a full force.
Looking at Throne as well, it looks like it will be a fairly convincing force. I can't see him expending an M4.
I think it's just a half bite.
Oh, it's just a half bite.
Yeah. He was going to buy an AWP if they were gonna force. And there's again the mid smokes from MBAPEEK. I love how mid control for them is vital for the round. They just, no matter what they want to do, they're throwing nades on middle. And like that, they're just keeping Majesty on toes. They're showing them that they have mid presence, and Majesty can't just fully concentrate towards the sides, and now they're going towards B. Now Talk, he has so much to do, but he just doesn't manage to capitalize. Native with 1 though, he's still alive and kicking from Kitchen. 3v4 Native, spots Ships, does damage, but doesn't get the frag in a Wonderful and Throne in a 2v4. And Throne, he's looking forward to just saving that M4 into the next round, which will be a buy, of course, for his teammates. And Wonderful, he will just escort him. He's just the security in this round.
Yeah, oh, even a bullet sponge should it come to it. MBAPEEK, they lead 6-1, and this wasn't any stretch of the imagination. We knew that MBAPEEK were going to be a stronger Mirage.
Yeah.
And I think they're just rising to the occasion. They show that the games they played on Mirage, they weren't fluke. They are genuinely just an insane team to play against on Mirage. And I am curious to see just how one-sided this half will be, especially if they continue this. I mean, Majesty, they are doing damage where they can, but it's just not enough.
Yeah, and there's the tactical timeout from Majesty, well-needed one, in my opinion, because they know that if they lose this round, they're going for reset buy again. If they lose this round, the game is pretty much over because it will be 1-7, potentially 1-8 on the City side.
Yeah, and then I think from there it's just a formality.
Yeah, from there it's just a formality. Like, Majesty so far, despite of that eco on buy rounds, they can't show us a reason to believe that they can win this.
Yeah.
But that's not actually their fault. It's just MBAPEEK doing so much better. Like, MBAPEEK are playing really well in Mirage.
Yeah.
After all, they're a mix.
Yeah, without a doubt. Timeout going to come on through. MBAPEEK, they lead 6-1, and for Majesty, they need to find something. This round, it's so important to them. They've got the AWP Wonderful, they've got the AUG on Talk, and they've got a utility to back it up. And MBAPEEK, they're not going to have any economic woes for a good 2 rounds after this. So for Majesty, it's not going to be doing damage. It's about winning a round and keeping players alive. As the freeze time comes on down, Majesty having finished that tactical timeout. Let's see what MBAPEEK have to throw at Majesty.
Wonderful going towards window. I really hope that we see him go for the aggressive peaks, and that's what he does. He will just go and push towards middle. Maybe he can push even further. But MBAPEEK, they're ready. They're going for the default. They know that there's probably some kind of an aggressive play coming from Majesty after the tactical timeout. Oh, and Victor, he gets the timing. I don't know if he heard Wonderful falling back, though.
Must have.
That's so smart from MBAPEEK. Again, a really nice call. They know after the timeout, Majesty will try to change something. They will try to go for an aggression play somewhere. So they just go for the default. Yeah. Don't throw anything. Just go for the default. Wait for them to make a mistake. Just hold. And that's what's working so far. Let's see, though, how they're going to proceed. Looks like the round is going to end up as an A split as the bomb is going towards underpass. And there's 3 other players in the middle. But no, they're going to go back towards B. They're leaving that A side. And like that, they're dodging the AWP of Wonderful because he's still in window. And he's going towards Ticket now.
Yep, Native in this aggressive position, he needs to try and find these players. Sleepy, he's wary for him. I think he spotted him there. He comes around, Sleepy finds him with the assistance of Red Star. And now Darkside, he's got some players to find. Flash goes out, he's completely blinded. As he'll be able to find one dinking up Victor, but the trade comes through. Wonderful. He's now lined himself up. He's in position. He's got some players to find, but Ships will win the duel. MBAPEEK, they line themselves up for what is going to be a 7th round, unless Throne and Tok have some utter heroics to display for us. Instead, it will be a save of the guns, and for Throne, he might not even be able to get away in time.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will, and he won't. Was he with an AWP?
Yeah, North there. Red Star, he's so quick, isn't he?
Yeah, he's playing a lot of basketball. Like, he's been athletic as well. He's went to athletics. Really quick guy. But MBAPEEK going for the 7th round here versus Majesty, and the Ukrainians, they just don't look as prepared here on Mirage as they did on Inferno. Like, and I think they anticipated that, and that's why they were so sad after losing Inferno, because they knew that that was their shot at the best of 3. They knew that they had to pick up Inferno. They knew that had they picked Inferno, they could have went for this 2, which is their 2nd best map after Inferno.
Yep. Without a doubt, MBAPEEK, they are lined up for what is going to be a stomp on this half. It's going to be a standard execution towards A. They're against the saved M4 Darkside, or the M4 Darkside that's an accompaniment of Deagles, and it is a stack, but I still for some reason feel inclined to believe that MBAPEEK could take this, as they line themselves up for what will be a standard execution and set default smokes towards A. Darkside, with the assistance of his teammate, might be able to aggress towards ramp, but looks like that flash is expended towards mid. Darkside, he needs to be careful. Sleepy, again, that man who just goes first. He sets his team up. That's all he does. And Darkside's the man he has to watch out for. As he'll aggress. And Victor, he's just ready for it. And it looks like Darkside, he's got like itchy feet. He's ready to push
hearing
forward.
So much right now. He's just collecting so much information, and his teammates need to move. Right here, right now. They need to move. in this particular moment because Darkseid will get the first. He'll probably get refract though. Does a lot of damage, and Talk again with the Deagle. Manages to strike down Throne as well. Will they get another eco? Looks like it. And Red Star, he's left in a 1v3 versus 3 Deagle players. They don't have a gun yet. He's capable, but they're 3 versus 1. They have armor. All of them playing from the same place. I don't think he'll anticipate that.
He could be ready for it. Swing up from default spot. He's Throne doing damage where he can, but Throne's the man to shut him down. It's a lovely little 1-dig from Throne, and Majesty, they are strong with these pistols.
That's the second eco that they win. Like, both rounds one were ecos.
With Deagles, yeah.
Yeah.
And MBAPEEK, they're going to fully invest into this because simply they can afford it. Majesty, we're going to see the AWP on Wonderful, an accompaniment of rifles. And this is a fairly convincing bio team from Majesty. One of the more convincing ones we've seen this game. As MBAPEEK, they just go out into this default that's been working for them. A mid-heavy one, which will mean Tok needs to watch out by connector. They'll back away at just the nick of time. But it's a very fast short push from Ships. He's already on ladder him. He's already broke vent, and just like that, any control towards window has just been mitigated by Majesty.
Owen Ships, he manages to strike down Native. Now Wonderful, he's all alone on that B side. He has the rotation from Kitchen, but Ships, he is clinical with that AK-47. Darkseid finally takes him down, picks up the AWP. He's still backside, but Sleepy is there. And Bubble, he's on the wrap. Throne, he had an idea, but at the end, oh, Red Star going for the knife here even on Talk. He's too low on HP, and that's gonna be 8th round for MBAPEEK. But the Bulgarians are doing such a great job after losing these ecos to fast recover from them.
Yeah. They've fast recovered from everything. We haven't seen Majesty able to string 2 rounds together at all.
Yeah, exactly.
And with an 8-2 lead, Majesty, their economy is still awful. We've got the odd bit of utility here or there for them to expend, but that's about it. You know, Native, he's got an AWP, but to what avail? As he's going to have to try and go huge with it, but MBAPEEK, they're on the other side of the map. It's going to be an early contact towards A. Wonderful will take a bit of damage as he tries to back on off. Then as the wrap comes through, Red Star will still take chip damage where he can, but MBAPEEK, their utility usage is just perfect. Chips, he's going on a rampage, making it 2. Looking for a 3rd, but Wonderful's able to shut him down. But Throne actually is going to make it even. How the response comes through these AKs, they just finish off the job. Plant coming down, and Wonderful, he'll try and find Victor. He'll run out of ammo actually switching to the AK, but as Victor and Red Star responds, Rapust comes through, and then MBAPEEK with a 9-2 lead against Majesty.
You know what I love about MBAPEEK's playstyle on Mirage? Every time they throw these mid smokes, and for the first rounds, they didn't play aggressive on middle. So once Ships decided to go fast or short, Majesty, they had no idea until he broke the vent. Like, MBAPEEK are doing kind of the same thing. That's the meta on Nuke right now, just going with the outside smokes every round. So at the end, the enemies don't know if you have cross to or secret or not. And that's what's happening right now. And Majesty, they need to challenge middle, and they're doing the exact same thing. They need to challenge it to get that information. And Throne with the quick double, Native with the AK. That's going to be a 3rd round for Majesty. Finally, they win a bye round.
And that is just insane from Majesty to actually come back with a fairly convincing bye round. They won that only losing 2 or 3 members. For MBAPEEK, it means that they do still need to show some respect. They've won the half regardless. It's just a matter of how badly they've won it.
Yeah, because there's a big difference between just 12-3 and 9-6.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though it's only 3 rounds, there's a huge difference. And again, MBAPEEK going for the same kind of strategy. Once their opponents win a bye round, they just vote the pulse immediately to find a way to reset them.
Yeah,
just don't get them don't let them get comfortable.
Yeah, and we'll see if they're able to do that as the timeout comes through from MBAPEEK. It's their chance as a team at least to decide what do you want to do, what do you want to do to just outmaneuver, out-aim, or even just outlast Majesty, because they do have a little bit of economy left on the back burner, but both teams facing the prospect of a reset means that this round is even more important than the last.
I think a fast round from MBAPEEK would work here. Like last time, Ships, he managed to find a Native by surprise. I think they should try something similar now. Maybe a fast split towards B, fast pace towards connector, something like that. Maybe even a B rush. I think they need a fast round here. Of course, Majesty with a lot of utility, but MBAPEEK, they saw that every time they go for a fast-paced round, Majesty are struggling to answer, and Ships is doing exactly that. Again, running towards Connector on W, but he won't expect Talk here. Talk will have an easy frag onto Ships. Really nice counter to that Connector aggression.
Bubble needs to watch out as well towards mid. He knows that Talk's going to be hunting for him, looking for him. Jumping up. Spotting the first, trying to do damage where he can, but Native's there to trade. The response is out on the A site though. Red Star finding one, and it's actually a complete hold of the A site. Flash is going out. It's just a matter of getting that bomb to default, as Native will find Red Star. And in a 2 versus 4, things look difficult for MBAPEEK, especially with City being alone. He'll jump on up, he'll fall. Majesty, they make it a 4th round for themselves. And for MBAPEEK, this victory in the first half might not be as steep as they thought.
Yeah, Majesty, after MBAPEEK starting so well, I really didn't think that Majesty would just come back, but they've won 4 rounds, and now that's a half buy, like eco half buy for MBAPEEK. We can see only Bubble having an AK, the rest with pistols, Sleepy without even a single piece of utility or armor. So Majesty, they have a decent shot right now to try and do a lot of damage and maybe potentially win 6 rounds, but Red Star starting things off with the Deagle, Dark Side with the refrag. And MBAPEEK, they're going fast towards Connector. Talk. Oh no, he missed the shots. Bubble as well, managing to find Wonderful, and now thrown in Dark Side. They're all alone. 2v4 for them.
Like Dark Side trying to get his window. He's able to find Ships, but he'll fall very low on HP. Thrown, the backstab comes through from Ramp. Swing coming in wide. The flash will go out towards Underbal, because CP's finding one. Thrown there to trade. Bubble and Thrown. 1 versus 1. How does it play? Well, Bubble is going to go around towards CT. I think it'll be heard by Throne.
I think Throne heard him. Yeah, he did.
The question being, is he able to find him though? Bubbly's picked up a molly, and that can be just what he needs. Early molly goes down. Throne's just going to stick it though. The molly doesn't hit him. So he comes round. Bubble not able to win it though. Majesty, by just the little slither of time left, are able to make it 5. And then MBAPEEK shouldn't have lost that.
That was such a nice round from Bubble, by the way.
Yep.
He just delayed the push as he was low HP as well, and I think Bubble knew that Throne hurt him. So he was like, there's no way he knows I'm fast CT and he'll stick the bomb.
Yeah. We will have to see though, as for MBAPEEK it's going to be another AK buy, this time without an AWP. Instead it's just an early push towards top mid. Dark Side will spam it down a little bit, the flash is just going to force him out of position. As MBAPEEK, their truer goals are going to be laying towards this B site. Red Star is ready for the push. Spot the first, taking down Native, and just like that, Majesty find themselves a man down. Bubble on short going to be able to catch out Dark Side, and with that, the flank comes back around. It's Red Star to find Tok, and just like that, Majesty, they slowly run out of opportunities, chance, and hope into this round.
2v5 for Wonderful and Throne. Wonderful, we've seen magic from him, but I believe there's something more that he needs in this situation. Like, I really don't see how he'll manage to turn the tables. Ships going for the knife yet again. Nice kills though. It's now a 1v2 for Wonderful. He doesn't have time. He doesn't have time. Surely not. Red Star will strike him down. MBAPEEK trying to go for the knife plays, trying to go for the show plays. And that's going to be a 10-5. Look at the utility damage. This time on Mirage, there's not so much utility damage. But this is normal. This is normal. MBAPEEK, they know, for instance, on Inferno, they knew that they had to use a lot of nades towards that banana control area. So now on Mirage, they're just running on W, using their flashes and smokes more than mollies and HEs, because they just know that they can out-aim their opponents, even without so many grenades.
Without a doubt, and we are going to have to see just how it fares on this pistol round. MBAPEEK, if they take this, they can pretty much take the game. Majesty, they're in dire need of it. It's early contact made towards mid. Red Star trying to tap down what he can, but the molly and the accompanying headshots is going to put him in his place. It's an A-wrap. A lovely shot from Ships there to kick things off. Dark Side to fall. A lovely shot onto Native. Aggressing even further, looking for more. Spamming down towards Connector, but Wonderful's there to finish him off. 4 versus 3 now.
They don't know he's so close.
He's ready by Ticket Booth, looking to catch out Tok, and Tok jumps on up. There's no way he expects him to be there. It's early contact, Tok falling to an accompaniment of body shots. Wonderful trading off the CP. 3 versus 2. There's a kit in the hands of Bubble, and that can be all it takes to win this round.
Oh, Victor
from behind.
On the backstab, he misses though.
Finding him though, it's all down to Wonderful. 1 versus 3. Trying to tag out the odd members, he'll push on forward. Spotting the first, tagging down Red Star, but to what avail as he'll fall to Victor, and MBAPEEK with a lovely first round in the second half established for themselves. An 11-5 victory so far, 11-5 lead so far, and what an opening from Ships.
No, that was... Do you know what I thought about when I saw these shots? You remember this AZ highlight from Ticket with the 5 headshots versus Heroic, I believe it was.
Yeah.
I was thinking he's gonna go for the five bullets ace here. Like so crisp first 2 shots from Ships. Unfortunately, at the end he didn't manage to connect with the third. And Majesty, they're going for the force. They managed to get the bomb down. They managed to kill, I believe, 2 players from MBAPEEK, so they need to force. It's 5-11. They need a round. Thrown fast out ramp, and MBAPEEK, they're playing the retake setup. Ships here will find the first. Ships with the second. Talk strikes down Bubble, but Ships, he's still alive. Not for long though. Native with a really nice kill, and now a 3v3. But the boost, Red Star, they didn't anticipate that. They know that there's at least 2 players here. Oh, but there's the backstab coming from CT. Will they expect it? Will they? Talk with the first. Now a 1v2. Red Star finds the first. 1v1 versus Wonderful. He's got only a UMP without big armor in him. And Red Star, he's got the AK, he's got the long distance, and he's got the round. 12-5. And Majesty, they have no money to work with.
A fairly easy setup from MBAPEEK there. That boost came through Prevalent, and Red Star, I'm seriously impressed with him. I think it's in the last 3 rounds he's had 7 kills. He's done really, really well. And for MBAPEEK, it's going to be a 12-5 lead. We're going to see Majesty go on to what is either going to be another force buy, actually. That's interesting. We'll see.
It's 5-12.
Yeah,
they need a round desperately. They desperately need a round. They just can't.
You delay when you have to eco, so by the time they do eco, it'll be MBAPEEK on like 13-14.
I don't know. I don't know if Majesty want to do a single eco to the end of the game. I think they're going to just force until they win a round. And Throne, he goes down. They're going for the B-Rush. There's the utility damage though from MBAPEEK being so huge. And Victor with the 3-man spray down towards that B-Apps area. And now Wonderful, 1v4. I don't think he's capable of rushing that. Gets the first though.
There.
That's a nice start. Manages to go down to side. Spot the second, but Ships with the USP will finish things off 5-13. And Kremer, unfortunately, I think that Majesty can't do anything in this situation.
Yeah, I'm feeling fairly bad for Majesty at the moment because they do finally have to eco, or pull by at least with the Eagles around the board. There's the odd bit of armor to accompany it, but it's still a rough scenario for them as MBAPEEK, they find themselves on a full buy and a comfortable buy at that. Ships with the AWP, it's been like a natural progression considering how he's fallen. Bubble, little aggressive to Palace, lovely kill onto Talk, and Majesty, they just don't have a response. Coming out from Rap, Sleepy's able to find them with the accompaniment of Red Star, and just look at that, it's just an utter collapse, a categoric shutdown onto Majesty as Throne finds himself alone. 4 players to find and a deal to do so.
And I believe now is the time when we see why Majesty were so keen on winning Inferno.
Yeah.
Like, they knew that they can't get Mirage. They just wanted to get to that third map being Dust 2, and they hoped that there they would have a chance. But here on Mirage, it has been like MBAPEEK all the way. And that hasn't been always like... No, not always, but rather that hasn't been only versus Majesty. MBAPEEK, they've been dominating everybody on Mirage so far. And I don't think anyone should want to play it versus them.
Without a doubt. And for Majesty, their only choice is going to be a standard execution towards A. Sleepy, the man playing Anchor on A, is going to have to go huge. Huge he does. He'll find the first dropping down. The flashes are perfect. He's actually unable to do much else. Darkside finding Ships. It's a fast flank from Bubble. But how fast and how effective, we'll have to see. He's trying to sprint over their throat, taking a lot of substantial damage. Native finding Victor on the aggression towards CT. And Bubble, he needs to go huge here, but Talk is ready for him. Thing comes through. It's down to Red Star, and I doubt he'll be able to do much. Majesty, they line themselves up for a 6th round, and with that headshot from Native, they cement it. A 14-6 lead, and MBAPEEK have against Majesty. But is this an inklings of a comeback, or is it a death wrestle?
It's not impossible, and there's the pulse from Bubble because he knows it. He knows that his team's money aren't good. They'll probably go for the half investment, maybe only one rifle M4 trying to get some damage, pistols around. But Majesty, it's not impossible. It's not impossible because if they manage to win 1 or 2 rounds without losing too many members, they'll have decent economy. They will be able to rebuy AKs and AWPs even though they might lose 3 or 4 players.
Yep.
And MBAPEEK, if they lose control of their economy, that's going to get really hard.
Yeah.
And that's what Bobo is trying to prevent with this pause.
From the looks of it, it will be a fairly poor buy from MBAPEEK. We're going to see an MP9 in armor, a Deagle in armor from Red Star, so they are just going to take a moment to take a poor buy and set themselves up economically, at least for the long run. As Majesty, they're going to be on yet another solid buy, and the first one they've had on this T side. It's an open wonderful AKs to complement it, and all the utility they could ever dream of. Majesty as well, it will be early control towards top mid. We're going to see that. Oh, that's scope in towards ramp from Wonderful, looking to catch out the odd member. But nothing too extreme. Native taking a lot of damage early on. He's able to find Red Star though, as the flash comes out. Ships the bubble, able to respond in kind as the collapse comes through either way. CP, one of the lone members with just a taser to his name, it stacks towards Palace. Looking to maybe catch out the odd member. As thrown, he'll spot him though. CP trying to do damage where he can. And he's actually getting a substantial amount. He's just distracting. That's all he really has to, as Bubble trapped towards CT. If he tries to aggress, stock will be ready for him. I think he will just save the AK. And MBAPEEK, they did all the damage they have to. Majesty, they get the plant, and Majesty line themselves up for a 7th.
The thing is that now MBAPEEK need to win versus buys. Like, they can't reset Majesty's economy. Because if they win too, they actually qualify for the finals. They kick Majesty out of the tournament. But the Ukrainians have the money. Like, after this bomb plant, after keeping 3 players alive, they will have the money necessary to buy whatever they want.
For Bubble and Sleepy, there will be a matter of holding on to these guns. Majesty, they look like they were considering hunting at least, as Sleepy's able to pick up. As they pick up an AK, he'll fall to the explosion. That's heartbreaking for him. But regardless, at least Bubble gets to hold on to his gun. As MBAPEEK, they go on to another full buy. Ships, he's got 7k in the bank. It's going to be a lovely little AWP investment from him, as well as utility to follow it through. As Majesty, their buy is also going to be a mirror of what they had last round. It's solid, it's got utility to support it. It's looking really, really strong, but for MBAPEEK, I'm not feeling it's not as strong. I'm not feeling it as well as I am the Majesty buy, but it won't matter because it's what you do with it that matters. Ships finding Tok early on Red Star on to Dark Side, and it's just a collapse. Majesty with only 2 players left, looking to maybe pull themselves back into this round, but Ships and Red Star have essentially just shut down any hopes or dreams of Majesty. Wonderful and thrown going towards mid, looking to catch out the odd member. Any flash goes through. Wonderful missing his shot uncharacteristically. As he'll re-swing on mid. Now Window Smoke going on down because he knows that he just needs the time. Ships finding one, thrown alone, and Majesty, they've lost this round clearly. MBAPEEK, they've won the round without taking a single point of damage. Like, none of them's even been tagged yet. Ships will take one bullet damage, and that's all that was inflicted to MBAPEEK right there. And look how good that's going to be for their economy as they move into what could potentially be the final round of the game.
I mean, Ships is 26-16. That says it. The Red Star sitting on 21-10. MBAPEEK are just having fun now.
Yep.
Just shows how much more experience these players have and how much skill they've got.
Yep.
And Majesty, they've tried their best. They're going for the fast APEEK. Throne doesn't manage to find anything but his demise. And that's a 4v5 Majesty potentially their final round in the tournament.
Bubble as well, hovering towards jungle in to catch out the odd member where he can, but for Majesty, they need kills. Unfortunately, Wonderful is able to find one, but Bubble is so quick to respond. Bubble responding again onto Native. As Stock and Wonderful find themselves in a 2 versus 3. As Red Star swings wide on B site. Please catch out Wonderful doing damage. No kill found just yet. It's very messy as he'll back on away. Sleepy and Victor looking to complement him and just support him on center site. The nade from Victor finding Wonderful. It's all on Tok. 1 versus 3. Swinging wide. Victor to find him. And MBAPEEK advance to the finals. Your first finalist team as they take map 2 15 or 16 to 7.
Wow.
Wow,
what
indeed.
series. Props to Majesty. Props to Majesty.
Yep.
We want to congratulate them. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's have a round of applause for Team Majesty for coming all the way from Ukraine and giving up their best versus one of the best Bulgarian mixes, if not the best Bulgarian mix we have ever seen.
Yeah.
What a series.
I'm seriously impressed by Majesty. They are one
me
of the,
too.
Like, not only are they so solid as a team, but when Wonderful gets that ult, when Wonderful pops off, they are a force to be reckoned with.
Not only him, we saw Talk with the Digger, we saw Darkside on the entries, we saw Throne, we saw everybody perform, and they're playing with a stand-in. Don't forget that they're playing with a stand-in.
On Inferno in particular, Throne in pits, Wonderful with these ult picks. They're the only team that has made MBAPEEK sweat so far.
Yeah, exactly. The only team that has made it even remotely close to winning a map versus MBAPEEK. So props to Majesty for coming all the way from Ukraine. It was a pleasure for us to have you here, and we hope that you enjoyed it. But what we can say about Mirage, like, I don't think there's even much to say.
In my mind, MBAPEEK, that you just have to ban Mirage against them. You can't ban the map you don't want to play. You have to just ban Mirage. And that's how solid MBAPEEK are. And what I love about that is it means that their veto is completely opened up simply because teams are frankly scared of playing Mirage on them.
The thing is that I think they wanted to play Overpass. It's one of their main maps, but they just didn't want to play it since they're with a stand-in because Darkside said it's really hard to play Overpass with a stand-in because it's a really tactical map, and they didn't want to risk that. So I believe they just left Mirage for the sake of them thinking that they can just try and out-aim MBAPEEK. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for them. I think we should be ready to go for the interviews. Are we?
Looks like we're ready for interviews.
Okay, we're ready.
We're going to throw it to our lovely host of NiKu. We'll be back shortly.
Hello everyone, we're back on the main stage. Next to me is Darkside and of course Bubble. I'm gonna start with Darkside. Darkside, you already met your own expectations, you even exceeded them. How do you guys feel about that?
We actually feel a bit sad because we could have won the game on Inferno, and if we won the game on Inferno, it was like 50-50 on Dust.
Yeah, it was a great game.
Yes.
And what's next for Majesty?
I think we're just going back to Kiev. We're gonna play with our main roster, just play some tournaments, and let's see how it goes.
By the way, guys, let's hear a round of applause for Tok. He's the stand-in. So Tok, he's not even considering like turning around. All right, that's fine. And any final words for the audience here at the venue and of course everyone else watching us online?
Yes, thank you everyone for watching us. It's an honor for us, for you to watch us. We are very sorry to lose game on Inferno. It could be.
It was a hell of a show.
Yes, it was our match, and
all right, thank you, Darkside. Bubble, you are our first finalist. How do you feel?
Feeling good. I mean, could be better. We could play better because our communication wasn't the best one. I think they played really well on Inferno. They had really good reads on in our game when we were T side. Yeah, I'm feeling good.
You're feeling good. That's great. And the next match is between the teams of Skate and Fate. Do you have a prediction?
No, not really. I think it's gonna be a really close match, and doesn't matter who are we gonna face. I think it's gonna be a really good game.
Do you think that we're gonna go like 3 maps?
Yeah, probably.
And who do you want to face in the final?
I don't know. We're gonna give our best, and let's go for a good match.
All right. And when we go to the final, what can we expect from your team?
Our best game.
Your best game. Thank you. A round of applause once again for Bubble and Darkside. And as we prepare for the second semi-final, we are going to go for a quick break. And after that, the action will continue.
Hello, my name is Konstantin Dinev, and I'm one of the organizers of this event. We're hoping to be a great event that is held continuously here in the city of Stara Zagora. And yeah, my past experience with gaming has been, pretty long-standing. I mean, the first tournament I've ever attended and I actually played in was in 2001, and was in Counter-Strike 1.5. And it was actually held right next door here in this beautiful city. How we decided to do this event was because we're former gamers. We're really passionate about gaming and about the whole esports sphere, not only here in Bulgaria but globally. But we really want the esports sphere in Bulgaria to be developing further than what it already is. And so we decided we need events, and we need events in Bulgaria, and that's why we're holding Belém against Elite Stara Zagora right here in our country. This is not a one-time event. We want to hold this event twice a year, spring and fall time, and we want to grow it. Now we're beginning. It's going to be a relatively small event. We're living in pretty desperate times with COVID and everything else, but we're hoping that next year, when we have better conditions for LAN events, we're going to hold larger, bigger prize pools, larger events, and this Belém against Elite Stara Zagora will grow to be a world-class tournament.